Jabroni Jabber podcast has become a friggin' member.
This is war out of nowhere. This is war out of nowhere. This is war out of nowhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Outta Nowhere, episode 226. We're live on YouTube. And Jabroni Jabber Podcast, thank you, sir, for all the support over the years, but becoming a member again, my friend. Thank you so much to him. We got all kinds of beautiful niceties to get out of the way, man. Just so much cool stuff, man. I'm here with Jake DeMarco on a Thursday night, and it's freezing everywhere. People out of food. Texas a mess. World's a mess. Wrestling world's crazy. But hey, Jabroni Jabber, thank you so much for becoming a member, man. You definitely needed it. And shout out to all the patrons. I do want to quickly mention the patrons, man. We're going to get into them in just a few minutes. Come back to the patrons. Shout out to the newest patron, $25 producer, Big Daddy Skittles. Don't exactly know what that means, but look out for Big Daddy Skittles, man, because he's got some Big Daddy Skittles in his pants, Jake. I don't know what's going to happen. I either have you muted or you have you muted. I have you muted. It's me. There you go. What's up, baby?
I said he wanted to taste the rainbow.
That's kind of what I was hoping. Like you came up with something better than that. I mean, that's
I was trying to, but
really pathetic. That was
that one sucked.
We know that was just the obvious joke, man. Like
I had to go for it. The low hanging fruit.
Yeah, but that's my thing.
Every color of the rainbow.
Oh, that's Natalia's thing too. She goes for the low hanging fruit too. TJ. Whatever his name is.
That she does, yeah. And, she's still enraged at this point in time because no one's ever played a game of fantasy booking before. But
I'm actually really angry that I can't talk on Twitter for a few more days, right? So like I'm losing my mind because I just want to write to her. I just want to write angry things at her, and then I'd be banned all over again. You know what I mean? But I can't. So it's it's driving me nuts. I want to angrily write it.
You'd be done for in a second. Maybe it's a good thing that you can't say anything at this point.
Maybe, yeah, because I'd freak out.
Think before you tweet. That's what they're giving you a chance to collect your thoughts. Maybe it's going to be worse and it'll just bottle up and turn into one huge rant. But
I'm going to snap. I feel like I'm going to snap. I want to snap on her so bad and just be like, you know what, cat face, shut up, shut your cat face entirely. Mouth. I flipped out the other day. So everybody saw that. And so I hope you did. And
hell of a rant that you pulled off there. So poor headphones. Yeah. They had to show for it.
Well, funny enough, I just realized I started the show with only the right sound on. So if anybody was wondering why their headset was only playing music out of the right side, it wasn't you. It was me.
Oops, you pulled a spaz.
I thought I don't know what that means, but
Spaz Phoenix, he always used to do that where he would have audio come out of one side for his shows originally.
No, I remember that. I remember I ranted on him. I was like, dude, I like your show, but you got to fix that audio. I remember that. It's way better now.
Much better.
Yeah, way better. And
speaking of way better, kind of dominated the end of the review last night, justifiably so, but fans jumped the gun. Kyle O'Reilly was just selling the injury that he received, kayfabe, from, Adam Cole. He's just that good, but we couldn't help but go into it because, when people are telling you that they're there, he had a seizure, this is what happened. Whoever reported that he had a seizure needs to be slapped or they've never actually seen a seizure before. Because apparently he barely even convulsed or shook. He just went ahead and acted like he was unconscious. And then they did the stretcher job. I was like, if not on TV, what for? If they're going to do WWE.com. But it just seemed odd that they didn't show that side of it at all. They weren't. It looked like they were trying to pan the camera away. So it kind of made sense. Like maybe he is legitimately injured because they didn't keep showing him over and over past that. They showed him once. He looked unconscious past that. You're like, all right, maybe something did happen. But thankfully, he's just great at selling. And a few people jumped the gun in the audience. And it kind of made sense because of his diabetes. People just made the connection. So yeah, thankfully, he's okay, though.
He's all right. I didn't buy it from the beginning. I was mad at the idea, and then people were like, no, it's real. Like, okay, oh shit, I guess I'm an asshole. Well, guess what? Joe wasn't an asshole.
No, you were skeptical from the beginning. I was more because a few people have pointed out, all right, his head's not, secured in the stretcher.
Well, they're trying to build
there
him
was
as
a few
this
steps
sympathetic
that weren't followed. So
they're trying to build him as this sympathetic character. So
it's a great way to bring him back, and now he comes back from the injury angle. And
I did start to believe it. I was like, at first I just thought, nobody was right or wrong or anything like that. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying at first it was like, yes, it's got to be at work, and then people were like, no, it's real. And it's like, oh, we fucking.
Well, that was the thing because the way it lined up with everybody, it kind of seemed like it had factual evidence. Usually if you hear somebody's injured, you don't always get to see photos of them on the ground and them in a stretcher and Triple H looking concerned. So it seemed legitimate. It's not like we just heard it and I ran with it. No, it seemed like it had legs. So thankfully that's not the case. He's okay. And still though, NXT improved by nearly 200,000 viewers. AEW lost actually, I believe, a little bit. But unfortunately, they lost only 6,000 viewers. So still not able to break that 800K again. Mm-hmm. NXT, with 558 last week, going up to 713. That's excellent. AEW had 747,000. So both very, very close again. It's still decent for both people, and it really shows how much the audience cares about story in NXT. Because there was a big cliffhanger with the end of the Undisputed Era and what's going to happen with Adam Cole and Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong and who does what and where does this go, that was enough of a cliffhanger to hook people to tune in. That was a difference of over 200,000 viewers who would either be watching something else or AEW. So if you look back at the ratings, every time they have these big story moments or big builds towards something, that's when the
Dude. Wow, okay. Piece of fucking shit.
Are you ready for it?
right. You were saying something. I swear to God, you were in the middle of something right as...
Yeah, we were saying how the NXT numbers always continually go up when they advertise or have a good story going into the show. You think that would be common sense for them, but looking back, I mean, Halloween Havoc had some stories, other things had some stories, and those nights that coincide with them telling something big or ongoing, look at that, fans go ahead and come back to the show. We saw an increase of 200,000 fans, between last week and this week. There's a reason for that. So TakeOver obviously had people wondering what was going to happen next. That's a good thing. I just wish that they could build on their story so much more. As where AEW has too much story at times or some crazy stories, NXT, it just doesn't have enough. So both, still holding strong. At least they're over 700,000. I would like to see them both doing better, but not a bad night for either show.
Yeah, both shows went up, really. So, I mean, really for NXT. I mean, who the hell?
I think AEW lost a few thousand, but not by much.
What? I thought they said they went up.
Oh, no, they were up by 6,000. Okay, that's what it was. I have the numbers backwards. They went up from 741 to 747. So they went up by 6,000, and NXT was at 558 the week before. They went to 713. So that's good for them.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks prior, it was 734 and 720. So...
All right, we're back, everyone. Sorry about that. I just typed we're back. It's hard to do a show when you're more worried about the technical side of it constantly than anything else. So, my bad. I was all fired up. I had all this concise stuff in my fucking head to say and do, and I lost it, of course. All the my whole notepad's gone, so there goes that again.
That's okay. We're going to go through the Elimination Chamber matches and, with our predictions for over there shortly.
Sunday?
That is this Sunday. We're raring to go.
serious?
UFC Saturday and Elimination Chamber Sunday.
That is so fucking weird that's already up here. My hair.
I know, because we just had the Rumble 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I know. And then we have
My computer
Fastlane
does have
just
COVID,
a few weeks
yeah.
after.
What's up, chat? My computer has fucking COVID, guys.
Speaking of COVID, Conan's been hospitalized with COVID. So, friend of the show, Conan, we're sending, love and prayers out to him.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's starting to do better now, waiting to be discharged from the hospital soon, which is great. Everyone originally thought it was something to do with his kidneys, and he was having an issue there. But actually, he is positive for COVID. And he knew that he reached a life-threatening point, had to be hospitalized. So,
wow.
I'm glad he got the care he needed and that he's okay.
Yeah, to be one of the ones that has to go to the hospital to be hospitalized, but then also to make it out, like that's some crazy shit. What's up, Orlo? Orlo, how you doing, you psycho bastard in the chat? You wet? Where's my hat? It's missing, bro. My hat's missing, everybody.
I didn't have mine on the other day. You have yours. I have mine on today. You don't have yours. We're just swapping.
Kite Lime goes, the show is gonna be all fucked up when Joe isn't wearing a hat.
That's right.
No, I had a bunch of meeting things today. I had a bunch of things going on today. I was all over the place.
Joe's had a busy week.
I'm having a busy week teaching people how to sell hamburgers and shit. No, I don't know what I'm doing.
How not to be morons.
No, I don't know. I'm
very
a
time consuming.
I have so many funny stories from this week. Like,
I can only imagine.
We'll talk about them later, but it's just fucking hilarious. It's
Can't
really
wait to hear about those.
Fucking hilarious.
So they're going to keep this pregnancy storyline going. Lacey Evans is really pregnant.
Haha, it's mine.
She's genuinely pregnant, but they're going to say that it's
mine,
Ric
you
Flair's.
bitch. It's fucking mine. I fucked her ass.
We know it's yours. Legitimately, Leah's not going to be happy, but at least she's a famous WWE superstar, so you can get some money out of it. That's a good thing. 18 years, you're going to be co-parent.
Listen,
but
you know who else is a big parent? The brand new producer. I can't believe he's a producer. His name is Big Daddy Skittles.
That's right.
Big Daddy fucking Skittles is a producer, guys. I swear to God, dude, look out for this guy. I mean, obviously, with a name like Big Daddy Skittles, you got to look out for him in the chat. I mean, really, look out for this guy. Big Daddy Skittles, $25 producer. Tonkatsu Todd. Alan Stober. Useless Robbie, D. Chris, Shell Bryan, Luis Antonio Alejandro, J-Man from KC, Colonel Stutters, Jerome Spicer, and we'll get to the rest of them in a few minutes. But I rattle these names off as a delay tactic for all the people that are refreshing their stream.
Getting themselves back in here. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I was going with the recap of this Lacey Evans story, because, I mean, he made her woo. And now she is She's swooning over Flair, but she's not going to be able to have a match.
Sucks.
So they're going to keep the rivalry going with Charlotte Flair, but they don't know how to have an ending to this feud because she can't wrestle. So there's no physical payoff.
Ugh.
They don't have anything in mind, we're hearing, and they have no idea how to book the ending of
Another fucking great storyline ruined by a fucking women.
I'm sorry, but it was something that could have been good. I mean, the fact that she's pregnant, it is terrible.
It's not good.
You gotta have your family. Good for her, but
I'm kidding. It wasn't good. I mean, let's be honest. It wasn't that good anyway. But still,
the Ric Flair storyline, hey, could have been something. They could have made something decent out of it. They could have had her actually be like, oh, he's learning from her to teach her to be the dirtiest player in the game and actually undermine Charlotte. And the way she beats Charlotte is with all of Ric Flair's dirty tricks. She keeps one-upping Charlotte by doing things that Ric Flair used to do to cheat as a heel. And you can tell, wow, he's really teaching. That could have been something decent. This sucks. But
yeah.
Every time we try and give them an inch, they take a mile and drown us.
There goes Becky. There goes Lacey. I mean, we'll get rid of we'll just impregnate the whole roster. How long until Charlotte's pregnant with what's-his-faces, with Taco's kid?
Andrade's not too long from now. I don't know if she had plastic surgery, down south, and can she have kids? We'll find out.
What
hopefully.
The hell are you saying?
I don't know.
What's
I'm just
wrong with
curious
you?
sometimes.
Something wrong with you.
She part human, all peacock. I wasn't sure quite how the anatomy works.
I just don't like how her ribs stick out. That creeps me out.
I didn't know if just the top half was robotic or the bottom half. And questions. That's all.
I'd like to see. You know what I really? This is really sick, and I hate to say it, but I really, really want to see Jade and Charlotte just tearing it up. Like they go full LGBTQ. And they both just
deep.
Imagine those two blasting each other, like for real.
Finger banging right to
I'm
the
ready
heart.
to go. It's going to be really great. Like I really think that it could be something if the two of them get together on that. Like I really believe I'm strong about that.
Shit bomb!
Come the Scissor Sisters.
You become shit.
A shit bomb.
Soundwave.
So how accurate is this report about the concussions lawsuit being appealed to the Supreme Court? I thought that lawsuit was already thrown out back in 2018, or did they simply refile it again?
There was another one that was thrown out, I think, but or they were waiting. This is a
and I was going to get into that. So Soundwave,
I don't know. I
beat
don't
me
really
to
know.
it. So here's what it is. The WWE might
for $20, you can skip right to the story. Look at that, $20
That's right.
Soundwave skips
get that
right to the
instant
story.
access, Soundwave. Thank you so much. So the Minnesota Star Tribune reports that Konstantin Kairos, the Keister Jew, is back at it again, representing the dastard case that keeps being thrown out and forever appealed. So he filed a request this past Wednesday requesting the Supreme Court to hear his appeal. And this case was dismissed beforehand back in September. That was the last time it was dismissed. There's many WWE Hall of Famers and legends involved with the concussion protocol lawsuit.
Half of them are dead.
Road Warrior Animal, Paul Orndorff, Jimmy Snuka, King Kong Bundy, Mr. Fuji, Kamala, Chavo Guerrero Jr., Ahmed Johnson, Dave and Earl Hebner, Sabu, Barry Darso, Shane Douglas, Marty Jannetty, and Michael Cole's rapist, Heidenreich.
Marty Jannetty!
He's still out at the bowling alley trying to hide those bodies.
Oh, man.
Marty's not having a good day.
No, Jannetty's snorting coke behind a car somewhere or something like that.
Well, you got to finish the crack to hide the bodies. This says that, he's alleging in this case that the superstars he represents were deprived of their fundamental rights as U.S. citizens, including their right to an appeal with the dismissal of their previous case, and said that the WWE says this lawsuit is without merit. So we have to see what happens. But yes, it is legit. He filed an appeal for them to go to the Supreme Court. Will it go through? I'm not so sure. It could.
Yeah.
It certainly could be, entertained and at least addressed. Doesn't mean it goes to full trial. Sometimes they do those like pre-trial things, but I don't know enough to really say one way or the other. To me, it'll probably, if it's been dismissed before, it'll probably just be dismissed again. That's typically how it goes.
Probably.
Unless they have some new evidence or something to contribute towards the case that wasn't there before.
I just don't think. Yeah, I mean, if more of them die, I don't know. But no, I just don't think they're going to really come up with anything. It doesn't look. It would have been solid 1 or 2 or 3 times. You don't just keep going through it. At this point, it's just sort of like he's going through every. What's it called? It's like desperation. He's still got a legal avenue, so he's still taking it, but the road leads to nowhere. So That's what I get out of it. I mean, there's still legal avenues to take, and he's doing it. He's probably doing
but
it.
Like you said, most of the stars involved are actually deceased, and the fact that they're doing it from their estate makes it even more difficult because they're not there to testify, and they have previous testimonials, but which of those could be used? And I don't know if it's like, do they have to go through a grand jury? I'm not sure at this point. So when I hear more, I will certainly update it. But the case is real. It is being attempted to be appealed and reopened. So we'll see what happens.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, and this is why WWE is really trying to keep people quiet backstage in the meantime, too. You hear that all the time. Oh, things are so bad, and the morale is so low, and it gets worse and worse with each, passing week, it seems. Workflow diminishes, and everybody's pretty much creative processes feel very, just defeated at this point in time, they said, because if a writer is on the team, he doesn't get to meet with Vince. They're left in the dark. And anytime they try and get anything sent up or adjusted or changed or altered, they only can go through Bruce Pritchard, allegedly, and he's not, again, bringing anything to the boss or to any other higher-ups.
Wow.
So he's just filtering everything out and not allowing people to go ahead and use their creative, license.
Yeah, I mean, good luck with Bruce, getting through Bruce to Vince and whatever else it is. I mean, that's crazy. That's a really tough thing.
One of the tenured members, it says here, creative team with direct knowledge of the situation said, I don't know why Bruce would have most of our staff operate in the dark, but it seems like a power grab to me. And we've heard quite often about his ego being, unchecked and pretty large compared to what it once was. And with him being Vince's go-to guy, that ego certainly just continues to swell.
Ooh, don't say swell around me.
Mm.
Hey, did you say you have a fever?
Yeah. I've got that urinary infection I've had all week.
How are you even doing it? If I had a fever, I'd be in bed.
Yeah, it's not too high. It's 100.2 at this point.
100.2 or 102?
100.2.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess
it's low enough. You're all right.
I guess I don't get I don't get the fever that's like a resting fever. I get it's either if my temperature rises beyond 99.1, there's going to be a problem. It's not going to be I can just, this is just happens. That doesn't, I don't get that. I get either dead or, it's nothing.
I'm always susceptible for fevers. I get them, anytime I get any type of cold or infection constantly. It sucks. The result I sent you before actually shows that they only found blood in my urine today, which is essentially a good thing, which means the antibiotic's working on the infection. So, all right.
Yeah, because normally, because if I found blood in my urine, I would be like, if I found blood in my urine, I'd be like, ah!
I'm ready to die. For me, it's just, hey, it's Wednesday. You know what that means.
Dude,
back to urgent care.
I had a massive anxiety attack the other day. And this isn't, we're deriving away from wrestling for a second to have a second of fun before we get back into the wrestling, because there's a lot of wrestling. And we are going to take calls, by the way, in a few minutes. Indeed. So get ready, guys. The phone line's going to open in a few minutes. But so I'm driving. So I've got all these appointments, meetings, whatever is going on with interviews and stuff like that. And to be honest, dude, I mean, I keep hearing about how everyone's out of a job or whatever. I keep hearing about how everyone's out of a job. I was offered fucking 6 jobs this week. It's fucking crazy.
I know, and that's the kind of a funny thing. I was helping a family friend look for work earlier this week, and there was a plethora of jobs, and not hard manual labor either. Quite a impressive amount of openings and availability at this point in time. So
I've been offered 6 jobs. Here's the thing, though. I'm driving in my car, right? I'm driving in my car to an hour and a half away from where I live. An hour and a half. It's crazy. And I'm like, I'm not going to take this. This is too far away, this, whatever. And I'm driving, and, okay, so earlier I had a cup of coffee, a whole cup of coffee. Then
and you and caffeine work so well.
We figured this out now. It's definitely the caffeine. 100% it's caffeine. But because the other day I had no caffeine, and I had a minor anxiety thing, and I walked around and I said, Leah, I was like, hey, what's up, Leah? I was like, what's going on? I was like, all right, I feel a little bit better. I was starting to feel weird. And dude, I'm fucking driving the car, and I had drank coffee, and I had I had soda. I don't normally have soda, but because I was on the road, I drank soda. So I had coffee earlier, whole cup of coffee, and then I drank a whole fucking thing of soda because I was thirsty driving.
Yeah,
and
it's quick, it's convenient. I get it, and then all of a sudden you realize, hey, I haven't
it's worse.
I got anxiety already, and now I've downed a bunch of caffeine. It's a good recipe for success.
It's worse because I also was worried I was going to get a headache while driving around and doing all these things. So I took 2 Excedrin pills, which has caffeine in it.
Yeah, it's got caffeine to begin with.
So I didn't know what was going on. So I'm driving because I got anxiety, and I'm driving, and I got my hands on the wheel, and all of a sudden thoughts started roaming through my head, and boom, like I started being like, ooh, like, and it started freaking out, like I was gonna die on the highway or like have a heart attack or something, or I was like I couldn't breathe, and I was starting to like do the. Like, I was acting fucking dude.
Real extra warm and tight, yeah.
You're right. So the fact that this is happening on caffeine tells me, like, because remember that night when I smoked too much weed and I started acting insane, like when I was having the high freak out, the paranoia, and having the paranoid high fucking attack. And, by the way, I heard someone the other day on a podcast talk about this. This guy was like, well, now all the weed is fucked up because it's so potent. Like, everybody's got paranoia now. And I was like, what? Really? And I'd never heard of that. But he was saying that. He was like, you're so fucking paranoid and you start freaking out like you're going to die and all this stuff. He's like, it's because of the weed. Back in the day, the weed was pure and nice and like whatever. Now this stuff just fucking makes you crazy. And the other guy was like, well, it doesn't happen to me. And I thought to myself, I know a ton of people that doesn't happen to, but that's what happens to me.
Yeah.
Like, and
there are streams that I have had anxiety with and have had issues, more headaches and things like that with. So
yeah, so I'm on the road by myself. I'm freaking out on the road by myself, and now I'm starting to get scared.
Caffeine. And is it snowing yet? That's the question.
Not snowing, but I started to get paranoid that I was an hour away from my home. So like I couldn't just turn around and get back to my house to see Leah and to see everybody. And I started freaking out, and dude, it was insane. But if you could have seen me in the car, dude, like I was like shaking and moving things and like doing stuff with the wheel and like looking around. And I got into the office of the guy, and as I'm rattling off my whatever, he like looked at me and he's like, do you always talk this fast? Or is it the and I go, but I'd already told him about the caffeine. I said, hey, if I'm a little bit whacked out, it's because like, here's the deal. And I was like literally having an anxiety attack over here. And the guy was like, I'm like, this is great to say on like an interview, first time out. And the guy was like, so do you always talk this fast? And I'm like, no, it's the caffeine. Yeah, it's the caffeine.
It's definitely the caffeine, but my hands are jittering so fast that if you put your dick in my hand right now, I'll jerk you off for free.
It was funny.
You can't stop twitching. Everything's fine.
You want to stop? Hey, how many cars you sell here?
Let me get that job.
Dude. The guy, it was a car dealership. So I was like, you gonna sell a car? I was like, yeah.
Can you help with sales? Just get naked, go on the roof.
Oh my god, dude! Oh my god, I was dying, dude. I was laughing so hard because I was like the whole time I was fidgeting all over. This guy probably thought I was on fucking crack, right? And I'm just like, oh my god, like this is fucking crazy. And I'm really rattling it off.
Once you realize that you're doing it, it becomes habitual. With anxiety, like once you realize, like, oh my god, I'm acting like an idiot, or I feel like I'm acting like an idiot, you act more like an idiot because you're realizing and you're trying not to. So now you're more like aware, and it snowballs. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious after the fact. During the time, you're mortified. Afterwards, you can look back and be like, holy shit, I was an idiot.
Yeah, dude, I'm so messed up, dude. You know who? Oh god, I'm just so crazy. But like, I've been like watching a lot of videos and getting myself pumped up and ready to go. And I applied to this one company. It's like a huge company, and you're pitching this crazy shit in front of a lot of people. And I was like, ooh, it's been a while since I've done sales, and this is a big corporation, and this is a big thing that we're pitching. So I'm drinking more coffee, you know, and I'm like, I gotta drink more coffee. Like, oh, I'm drinking coffee. I'm trying to take like stimulants. I'm trying to I'm like watching sales training videos. I'm watching like this guy, the other guy, and the other guy, and this guy. And one of my favorite has always been Jordan Belfort. So I'm watching Jordan Belfort because like that's how I always sold like him. And I'm like, I didn't even know know who he was, and I was selling. And then when I saw him, I was like, this is how I sell. Like, this guy sells just like how I would sell. And then I found out that he's like famous. And then the Wolf of Wall Street came out. But so I watched him, and he said that the weed is making everybody paranoid. He's the one who said it on the show. He's like, oh, weed make everybody paranoid. I'm like, dude, it's making me fucking paranoid every time I fucking drink it. So I'm drinking coffee here right now, and I'm starting to get wound up. I can feel it, and I'm realizing, Jake, that I need to calm down.
You're starting to come to life.
Got to calm down because I'm freaking out here. So there I am on the highway, shaking. My hands are shaking like this on the highway, and I'm like, ooh, and I'm starting to do this, and it was just really funny, dude. It was so funny, and I call Leah, and I go, Leah, hey, what's up? And she's like, what's going on? And I'm like,
what's wrong with you?
She's like, are you at the place yet? I'm like, no, hey, I'm driving down the road though. I'm driving right now. What are you doing? And she goes, are you having another one of those things again? And I'm like, yeah.
She knows.
Yeah. Like, I just want to, please talk to me. Like, can you talk to me for a second? Just maybe it'd be cool if you talk to me. And she's like, oh my fucking God. I'm like, dude, I'm a psycho. Anyway, let's get back to wrestling. I just thought that was hilarious because I'm on the road and on the highway.
I can picture you driving, twitching, talking to Leo, being like, hey.
Yeah. I am so the guy who, dude, I'm a mess. I'm totally the fucking lost cause friend who like you had to carry him home the other night because he's insane. Like,
you're not a lost cause, that's for sure.
I'm something. I'm crazy. Like, dude, I don't know what to say. I'm
We're all
crazy.
crazy.
What's up to the chat?
Once you accept the fact that everyone's crazy, then everybody becomes normal.
Crazy Blake goes, switch to decaf time. It's time to switch to decaf.
Even if you switch to decaf, it'd be something else, I'm telling you.
I just hope
life has enough stresses.
I just hope people enjoy my insanity. I hope you enjoy how insane I've become. I'm worse than ever. This is definitely like some of the worst than ever, except for when I used to drink back in 2006 and 7. That was the worst ever because then I was insane. But anyway, back to wrestling. I thought that'd be kind of funny to picture me shaking in a car an hour away from my house on the highway thinking I'm having a stroke or something like that.
I told you when I bawled my eyes out coming back from Walmart, and Courtney's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I have no idea. Just an emotional wreck because you can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's so
it just
weird.
happens.
I love you. I'll suck the blood out of your urine for you.
It's her fault. Told her not to go that hard.
I think
like a friggin' mosquito.
I think your wife's pussy gave you a urinary tract infection.
It's too tight.
So I'd like to blame her. Here comes a dono. Why didn't it play? Oh, they blanked out something. Jeremiah raped, hijacking the show. What? And Puerto Rican cracker. Santos is a Filipino cat-eating midget. AJ Adams just going off. I don't know what that means, but dude, you know what happened today? Everybody was complaining to me about Bullfrog. They were like, Bullfrog is gonna make you lose patrons or something. And I'm like, here we go again. And then Bullfrog was complaining that I need to get rid of D. Welsh, and then everybody was complaining with each other. And it's like, dude, you want me to shut are people trying to get me to shut the Discord down again? Because I'll shut the Discord down again. You fucking crybabies. But yeah, I mean, we didn't lose any. I gained producers. Okay, we literally fucking gained producers today. Okay, and Jabroni Jabber became a member when the show started, but we gained producers. Here they are on your screen right now. $25 producers. We gained them. So Bullfat, you made a mistake, brother. So anyway, okay, go ahead. Now you can continue. I'm sorry. Thank you, AJ Adams, for the savagely weird donation.
Celebrate the new patrons, and that's right, by bringing up the first story that I was going to mention, that Bobby Lashley wants to defend his U.S. title in a fight pit match.
A fight
pit. Do it. Former, MMA fighter Bobby Lashley, have him take on former, UFC competitor Matt Riddle in a UFC style kind of shoot, but not really shoot fight. Both fight pits so far have been fantastic. Really, really well done. And Thatcher and Riddle, and then Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa, both matches I've loved absolutely. And Triple H went ahead and wanted this to happen. We'll see what happens with it, but
hell yeah,
I'm all for this idea. If Bobby Lashley is going to keep the title past Sunday, then let's see him go ahead and defend it, in some type of spectacle like this. You could do that at Mania. I think fans would love to see that live. No, a fight pit. I think that could be a really cool spectacle live for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think it could be something cool. I'm down. See, I'm kind of sort of down for like variety, right? And that's like
a little,
That's why, like, even like with the
spice of life.
That's why with AEW, That's why I was so excited with AEW with the death match, because like I'm just down for variety right now. Instead of like 7 matches and there's going to be the couple like Young Buck type matches and all that stuff. It's like, dude, I'm so down for like just some different stuff here or there. Everything's different. Everything's something else, you know.
Here's the thing too, and I know it's not so much like hypocritical because I don't hate death matches. Like I said, I used to really like them when I was younger. Obviously, same time frame that I used to like watching Jackass, that kind of stuff. I still like it today, but it's not anything. I like story in wrestling. That's what I go for. And it's not that I don't like the hardcore matches. You can do hardcore things if it makes sense. Like I went and rewatched the Kenny Omega and Moxley match that people went nuts about earlier today. Just to go back and be like, why did people freak out so much and make such a big deal when you can see it's sugar glass, it's fake stunts, most of it is safe and well controlled.
Yeah, it was fun, but it was like...
But the point that I have a problem with isn't that, it's too far or, it's too much, in a violent sense. For me, it's too far because any one of those spots should have been the spot to end the match, if you understand what I'm saying. The board with all the mouse traps on it, that's an end of the match spot. Going into the barbed wire bed, that would end a match. Ripping up the whole ring mat and going onto the exposed wood, that's a match ender. Like all of these things were match enders. So all you're doing in the future is showing me like why is Kenny having a hard time kicking out to a DDT when he just took so much punishment from barbed wire baseball bats and glass, and so it just makes it too unbelievable in those moments. Had they done a little bit less and still had more of a fight, maybe to me I would have liked it better. But that's the thing with this barbed wire explosion death match. Maybe they're trying to write John off for a little bit since his baby's on the way, and Kenny, I imagine, is going to retain the belt, so John will get blown up, and that'll be that.
They're going to blow him up?
They're going to blow him up.
You think they're going to blow Johnny up?
I think they're going to blow Johnny up. I think that's what's going to happen.
By the way,
they're going to say, here's your shield, lie on it, and they're going to send Dean to the moon. It'll be a chance for him to get a break probably for a couple weeks, and paternity leave is probably coming up soon, I believe. So why not go with the flow and have that happen? And the thing is, though, they need to write John off if he gets blown up in the match, is my point. For a while. They need to sell this like he can't come back a week later. They need to make these things feel impactful.
He's in the burn unit now.
Yeah, I totally forgot that they dragged Darby Allin the week before with in a body bag across the parking lot because it just felt like a stupid stunt that didn't really look like it hurt. You dragged him on the ground. Ooh, like it doesn't hurt. It can, you get road burn, road rash, but like it's not. You're better off kicking the shit out of him. Run him over with the car if you really want to hurt him. That's
what I thought.
Things are silly.
Drag the bag on the ground, I thought, and then cut it loose. And then I thought, have the car come back and run him over once, like
roll it over. Yeah, and then they could replace the body bag, roll over his leg. Oh my God, they crushed his leg. Now he can't fight. And that's the kind of angle I thought we'd get. No, they just drag him behind. So. Can Dean lose a match without getting written off for once? Well, that's the thing, because C4, they're going to explode. How could you not be in the hospital for ages if you got hit with an explosive barbed wire death match trap? That's my point here. The turnbuckles, the wires, the ropes, I'm saying, all they're going to be replaced with, if that's what they usually do. If they're going to do it like how they did back in the early 90s, we're talking Terry and Cactus style, there's going to be barbed wire and explosives in the middle of the ring and the ropes and turnbuckles. So
maybe he'll just be all ripped up, he'll just be all jacked up,
Yeah.
Like he'll be all bleeding and he'll have bandages.
It could be. I'm hoping it's good, but with Moxley, it's always going back to, as they call it, the garbage wrestling and the mud stuff, and it's like
mud
go
stuff.
to the mud show.
That's not mud stuff.
The mud show wrestling, that stupid, constant hardcore, death match.
Well, but I don't think you can have a death match that isn't a mud show. You can,
but I feel like a lot of Moxley matches are like half good and half devolve into him having to go back into his hardcore necessities.
I think that's good because I think his other matches suck.
See, to me, I like some of it, but I don't like how he always has to rely so heavily on weapons.
I wish he didn't too, but he just sucks, so that's what he's going to do. I mean, like, I agree. It's too bad he needs that match, but you know what? He needs that match because
he does. He needs it, and I wish they could.
He's fucking
do
boring.
Hardcore matches. matches.
He's boring if he doesn't have a hardcore gimmick going on, and he's not even that crazy at hardcore. So it's like it's not even.
He used to be. I mean, if you look at his back, he's got scars every inch of his spine. I mean, it's ridiculous. He used to have no problem draining his body of blood for a group
I don't
of
think
20
that. Yeah,
wall.
I don't quite. I know that. It's just I just mean like he really doesn't like he. Otherwise, he wrestles a very WWE style. Like,
yeah. I'm just saying, but it always has to
DDT.
result to him using weapons, and I wish they could get away from that with him.
Well, they do because he barely does it.
I feel like he usually resorts to the hardcore stuff. We saw it last week where they had their, fight all the way with potatoes and every other weapon they could get their hands on. We got the barbed wire bat again this week. Like, it just feels pretty regular to me.
I don't know how many matches. I mean, I've seen a lot of his. I don't know, man. I feel like I see him wrestle all the time, and it's just stupid. But then when he has a hardcore,
into going to the outside, we got to go through and bring out the weapons, and that's to me what it feels like. So.
I don't think so though, because if it did, I'd like him better. I don't think he does that enough. I think he does too much straight wrestling because I don't think it's fun. Like him and MJF had probably his best match of the besides, because his best match I think is Kenny Omega and him in the hardcore thing that they did. The second best match I think Moxley's had is against MJF.
I think it would be Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston. I'd probably put that third, maybe. I don't know.
It made sense. They built the story up. That worked. That's the kind of thing, that they built the story to tell that moment for the I Quit match.
That was probably his. But after those three, I can't think of another thing I've seen that I care about.
No.
So that's it. So far, Moxley for us. I mean, it's Kenny. I like the Kenny Omega first death fight or whatever you want to call it. Even that was kind of like you said, it was so there's so many plans that it was like wasn't the greatest. It was just like 7 out of 10.
Just so many spots and a lot of ridiculous spots and executions.
But it was just fun watching.
Almost fun. We got caught up in the moment.
You know what it was like? You know what it was like, Jake? It was like fucking Final Destination, like the movies, Final Destination, where like. But, after a couple of them, you're not really interested in the story because they're never going to answer anything at all. It's all stupid. They won't answer where things are from. You don't care about the characters. You're just kind of waiting to pop for the next death scene. So that's really what Moxley and Kenny reminded me of, where it was like, all right, like this ain't going to be the greatest beginning to end wrestling match ever, but every time they started doing something that was whacked out, like you were like, oh, fuck, what are they going to do next? Like, that's what it felt like, where I was excited watching what they were going to do next. And what they did wasn't the most insane thing anyway either, but it was just fun watching it. And I don't remember what I gave the match, a 7 or an 8 or something, but it was, it wasn't Stone Cold and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13, but it was like, it was a fun car wreck. It was just a fun car crash, which is more than I can say for most of the other matches that I see Moxley having. I mean, he's good. It's just that it's a little boring sometimes, him. It's
no doubt. Getting into the Elimination Chamber for Sunday, since they did so much work to sell that pay-per-view, the card, believe it or not, Joe, is still a work in progress. They've got 3 days to figure out the rest of the card. They really just
unbelievable.
They don't know what they're doing anymore. I just don't remember ever a time where they didn't have, all right, we don't have the matches ready. Like the past 2 years, it's been this way. But before that, I was almost in denial for a while. Being like, no, it's just continually gotten worse. And I don't know if it's a Bruce Pritchard, fault entirely with him in the back, as we mentioned earlier, or is it just
no? It's the hierarchy set up by Vince. It's done wrong.
Just the whole way it's handled. Yeah, I mean,
Vince is set up to fail.
We won't see a change with that, because they said it. His family said it. He said it. He'll never let go. He will not. He won't sell the company unless he could get some ridiculous amount of money to be like a crowning achievement. It would have to be double what they sold the UFC for.
They'd have to be failing and like miserably, like almost ready to go under.
They're doing well. There's no desperation. He doesn't care about ratings because he's got Peacock now. Like all of it. It's just Vince. It was said before. Chris Hero brought this up. I believe it was. Chris Hero has his new podcast because everybody has a podcast. This one's not about cereal though. So, and he told about Vince nowadays that he just doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to adjust. basically the product is meeting the numbers that Vince has set, so he doesn't feel like he has to change anything. And he's not trying to be in touch. He doesn't care what anybody else wants. He wants what he wants, and sometimes that's at the behest of his performers and his producers. Yeah, we know that. That's a great quote because that's certainly true. Vince, if he said it during the CM Punk stuff. Oh, I always do what's best for business. I have a sizable ego, but I'll put my ego aside. No, because if that was the case, Punk wouldn't have walked out because Daniel Bryan would have already been going to WrestleMania. There's so many things that would have been fixed. Roman would have been turned heel. I mean, the list goes on and on. And
I think he might be right. I mean, because he did in the end do that. It just was so it was so late.
Only to the point where people were canceling, the network the year after with Roman stuff. He had to lose Punk and have a whole friggin'
but CM Punk is
takeover.
CM Punk is kind of a retard though, so.
Even still, I mean, they lost Punk because of all these issues.
I think he's kind of I think Punk sucks though. I think it's two stupid people, and so they're mad at each other. I get it. I get why Punk, but if I was Punk, I would have flipped out a little bit more. But he sucks though. Even though WWE sucks too. But
yeah, I'm just saying it took them losing a great star in order for them to finally realize, hey, we got something in Daniel Bryan.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that's what happened. I don't think they lost a great star and then realized what happened. I think they would have done that. They would have done what they did anyway.
Well, they weren't putting Daniel Bryan in WrestleMania.
But I don't think it has anything to do with Punk.
Well, Punk had addressed it to him. He said, it's Daniel Bryan's year. This is everything. And when they lost Punk was supposed to face Triple H at Mania.
Yeah.
And that opened up the round for Triple H, which set him up with Daniel Bryan to get him into the main event. And also because the fans were revolting.
Yeah, but Punk. I think the fans would have flipped. The fans are going to flip out anyway about Daniel Bryan. So I don't.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm saying that the groundswell of Punk leaving opened up a spot, absolutely, because he was supposed to face Triple H. That goes to Daniel Bryan, which leads to him being in the main event.
I mean, I don't know if we can't really prove that, but
that's been said before. But
by who?
I'll find the quotes while we look through it. But
yeah, I mean, I understand the theory of that. I get that's a theory, but Daniel Bryan, they didn't go, they would have just, all they would have had to do then, if that was the case, is just make Daniel Bryan face Triple H. Okay, well, CM Punk's gone, and we have nothing for Daniel Bryan, and nobody wants him and Sheamus.
The article at the end of February cites F4W Wrestling. They were behind the rumor that then got proven true. Reports WWE would hold emergency creative meetings in the wake of CM Punk's departure and the negative reaction to Batista winning the Royal Rumble earlier this year.
See, I think that's more of it.
Big changes were on the way for WrestleMania card, but the lack of any major changes on the screen in the run-up to Elimination Chamber had the fans worried. So it was the buildup of a lack of star with Punk's departure and the fans' continued Batista hatred that led to. I mean, it said it through.
But
everything
I don't think that has anything to do with CM Punk. I don't think that. I literally believe.
But they didn't know what to do with creative because Punk left. That's exactly why it led to Daniel Bryan being called up. They weren't. They didn't view him as someone.
They already had the Batista and Randy Orton main event.
Yeah, that was their main event. Batista was coming back, and he got screwed. I mean, really, Batista just wanted to come back, have one more Mania, have fun.
Yeah, but if CM Punk leaves, so now you just put Daniel Bryan in CM Punk's spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Why would? So he wouldn't have been in the main event. He would have just faced Triple H.
Yeah, but Punk wouldn't have. He wouldn't have had that chance had Punk not left.
Right. So, but if Punk didn't, if
Daniel Bryan had a chance to go ahead.
Well, no, I think if Punk didn't leave, Daniel Bryan would have just gotten put in the main event anyway, because they would have been
saying, no, if Punk didn't leave, creative said they would not have put him in it was not happening. It was Batista winning the Royal Rumble. They went ahead. They had him and Orton, and they didn't care about Bryan getting fans on his side at what WrestleMania 28 I think is when it started. With the yes chance and all that, when he got taken out by Sheamus super quick, they didn't give a shit about the whole yes movement and any of that. Says it right through everything. CM Punk's departure was what opened the chance of creative actually giving him a chance, including Batista. The mix shook everything up, especially with Bryan needing to beat Triple H even to enter the main event. So they tried to make WrestleMania unpredictable by giving that and a chance to take over itself. Yeah, where else? But
and I just can't believe that they would have been like, you know what? all the people are screaming for Daniel Bryan every night, like over the whole building is on fire.
I'll give you a prime example as to why you're wrong. Because if they were, the CM Punk was still there at the Royal Rumble. He was in that Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan was not in that Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So that proves my point entirely. They didn't care that the fans were screaming for CM Punk or for Daniel Bryan. They didn't care that the fans booed the shit out of Rey Mysterio at number 30. You know, they didn't do anything. They let Batista win. They didn't call an audible. They didn't say shit. We got to get Daniel Bryan out there. They stuck to their guns, and that's because Punk was doing the Rumble.
But I think after that,
Punk quit, and he went ahead. They had creative meetings, and that allowed Daniel Bryan to go in.
I just think that after that, they would have figured it out. They would have been like, all right, people are still booing Batista. People are cheering Daniel Bryan. Like, they would have had...
I don't think they would have. I honestly believe Vince is so fucking... just that much of a petty stickler that even going against Best for Business, he would have just kept his way. It wasn't until they had that power vacuum that they didn't have the chance. And we've seen that happen a few times before when stars get injured or when somebody leaves. We've seen Austin take his ball and go home. That left open a few spots. That was a problem. There's certain times when they had
curtain call with Triple H is a big one. Where Stone Cold won
the win. Obviously, in Stone Cold went on to win King of the Ring. So I mean, it has happened quite a few times where they've just kind of stuck to their guns, and then somebody leaves or something happens to change creative.
Yeah,
Vince, I honestly would die on this hill saying I don't see Vince ever acknowledging Daniel Bryan because they viewed him as that B+. That wasn't a joke. You know, those promos came from a place of truth with McMahon. So that was said before too. I know we've discussed that. You know, they were cutting him down, and he wanted to prove them.
And then weirdly with Kofi, they were like, "Go ahead." And it's like, shit bomb.
Go figure.
You become a shit bomb. Attitude Era.
My water is out and my line's busted under my house. I don't know how much it's going to cost.
Damn.
Texas is crazy right now.
Attitude Era Kid, thanks for the $5. Yeah, here Texas is crazy. There's like a food shortage, like shit's out everywhere. Man, Jesus. It's crazy. I mean, like, they're just not ready for this type of deal, man. Hey, we're off the grid, you know? Oh, fucking shit. Shit bomb! It's crazy. You become the Soundwave. Shit bomb. 10 more bucks.
No lie, I feel bad Asuka. She got handed the Raw Women's Championship due to Becky getting preggers because Seth has weak pull-out game. Now everybody else she feuds with is getting pregnant, lol.
Yeah.
So now she doesn't get her match with Lacey. And before that, even, we had said, what a disaster, Soundwave. It really was. Thank you for the donation. But what a total shit show.
Dude,
poor Asuka didn't even get to win the title. It was just handed to her inside of a briefcase because her competitor got knocked up. That's terrible.
Trash.
They should have just let her keep the briefcase and say, I'm pregnant, have your little celebration, and you can win this title, you know, by defeating, have another ladder match, whatever. But they could have done something. She didn't even get to win it. They just handed it to her and took the briefcase.
The women's titles and the tag belts just dead. I want to say thanks to Chris Kowalski, just became a $2 patron. Good last name, by the way, Kowalski. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, bro. Nice name.
Someone should have gotten George a ventilator and we could have skipped a year of violence. Also greetings from Joey Abortion's Pizza where today's loss is tomorrow's sourced.
Oh my God, something inappropriate with a donation. Yeah, that could have
pizza place there.
If you could have saved them, we could have really we could have
think about all the excess toppings we get on those pizzas.
Imagine that. Is that one of those kid pizza places?
Yeah, umbilical cord, bacon.
I walked by a pizza place with my kids once, and they tried to come out and grab my kids. I was like, "What are you doing?" And then a van pulled up, and then all of a sudden I got lucky that the police drove by and they stopped.
Oh, thank God. It could have been real bad. Those sex traffickers mean business. They want you.
Yeah.
Well, they want your kids, but they want you too.
That's why it'd be great if you're carrying a weapon.
Brian Cage is gonna lose both nuts with a Thorax swing of a Black Louis fucking slugger for the weak-ass power bomb.
Whoa.
This man beat up the entire NWO with a bat. Fuck a Captain Insano. Sting shows no mercy.
Snow blow Sting Frostin'. Snow blow Sting Frostin'. Thanks for the 316 Snow blow. If you guys want to donate, the links are down below, and all the new donation amounts are listed down below. They mostly work with Evil Spectrum 3 and Perfect Sparrow down in the links, but Super Chats aren't really fixed yet. So Super Chats are the only things that aren't really alerting the right way. They pop up as something, but they don't have the special alerts and all the cool things. but the other ones down the link below do, and also the one pinned to the top. And the top dog right now,
Shit bum!
Soundwave 92.
One time a girl shoved ecstasy pills in her pussy, then I banged her pussy and put bruises on it. She was a Mexican, so her pink taco got blacked.
Oh my God. Good Lord, AJ Adams. You put your big black cock inside of her?
In a black bean taco.
Man, AJ Adams has a thick black dick. We were looking at him the other day on cam, and his pants. I was like, "Oh my God, bro, that is." I mean, he says, "Are you
wearing sweatpants?" He's like, "No, shorts." I'm like, Jesus.
Well, he says it's not that long, which I agree, but it's just girthy. It's like a girthy one, which is really impressive.
Size of a Campbell's soup can.
Yeah, that's what you want, AJ Adams, because that just fills it up. AJ Adams, thanks for becoming a $5 ship
How much you
bum.
the sex tape that led to Cody and Brandis, and here's another thing Daddy taught me. And another. And another, followed by a lot of crying and him blading a sour clam.
Oh.
All
Good
right.
Christ. Holy shit, these donos are wild. Oh my
Good
God.
going.
Something inappropriate with the $3 again. And speaking of donos, got to get back to these ones.
Did you just donate to Joe?
It's Colonel
Did you just donate to Joe?
Santos.
Thank you for the donation. And because you donated, I'm going to fist myself
Fist away.
in the bunghole.
Colonel Santos tipped $3. Sorry to bring this up, Joe, but as much as I despise Bullfrog, fuck you Welsh for server muting Bullfrog, you doxxer. And fuck you to that chingy-eyed sushi roll Edsview and my favorite spooky son of a bitch AJ Adams. Heard he's eating cotton nowadays.
Colonel Santos, we think that could be the case. No doubt about it. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know why everybody's such a baby on Discord, bro. What a bunch of babies. Everybody. Crybabies. I don't care. I'm not doing anything. You don't like it, don't be in the server. I don't give a shit. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't go in there. If you don't like it, don't be in there. It's pretty easy. Pretty simple. Daddy Joe don't fucking give a fuck.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Keith Lee Spear tipped $5. Riddle him gonna take you out, a man can die but once. Tonight I will be the new #1 contender, you understand me, A2 brute. What light through yonder window breaks? It's the east and my fist is up your ass. You will all bask in my glory and I am for you.
Go ahead and bask in his dumpster fire. Bask in Keith Lee Spear. Keith Lee Spear, thanks for the donation. Bask in his dumpster fire. Shout out to Christian, too, for the $1 donation. Pasharo. Joe, why was Triple H so selfish in the early 2000s? He never put anyone over at that time. You know, part of the theory for me why Triple H was a little more selfish than he'd ever been, ever. And I honestly give him a break a little bit on some of this. And the reason is, the guy, when he was coming up, was, very gifted, right? Very good. Should have been on top of everything potentially earlier than he was. But the whole curtain call thing stalled him for a long time. Then he had to be like Shawn Michaels' sidekick. Then he had to be the leader of the silly, funny D-Generation X thing that we carried on. And, then he had to split away from DX and try to become Triple H, the Game. And he became that. And, that was in around 2000, right? So, he had just become a singles competitor and just getting this push, and he at one point he was the biggest guy and just becoming that top guy, and he was in that period of transitioning from a top mid-card star to potentially being the guy. And so that's why I think Triple H was a bit selfish then, because he sort of felt like, listen, it's my time, bro. Fuck this. No, I need, he's competing with The Rock and all these other people, Stone Cold still, but they took a step aside for a few. And, even right a little bit after that, it's like Triple H never had a minute to just be the guy. It's like there was always somebody else coming in already. Now Brock Lesnar comes in, Stone Cold's gone, but now Brock Lesnar comes in. The Rock is on fire, then The Rock might go away. So it's like,
yeah, but you can't just either, jump up and say like, it's yes, he was selfish. No, he wasn't. It went back and forth, and there were some things like you said he earned, he deserved, he worked hard for, and then there were other times where you blatantly saw him bury people with his golden shovel. Booker T is probably the easiest one to come to mind. How long did he wait to pin him at Mania? 20, 30 seconds after that one pedigree? Come on.
It's weird. There's some weird. Triple H is one of the weirdest. He's one of the weirdest alpha male top single stars ever, because he goes from giving.
Well, he married Stephanie in what, 99 or 2000? 99, right?
2000, I think.
I thought it was late 99. Either way, around there, and he goes ahead. He could have legitimately, made himself top of the card if he wanted to every time. He had the ability, booking and push, so he didn't do it at that point. And it wasn't until years later when some of the stars were starting to really disappear, delve out. I mean, when Lesnar left and Goldberg left, that's when, Evolution was still kind of going. They had the DX reunion around that point in time too. And Triple H was obviously very prevalent throughout those times because he could book himself to do so. It wasn't even that long ago. It was in 2019 when they were talking about the Saudi shows and how he always has to book himself in the main event. And he got a lot of, flack over that. And it kind of never changed. So in one way,
they were really married in 2003, Jake. They were really married in 2003.
Yeah. But I'm saying on the storyline, from that point, he started, once he married Stephanie in kayfabe, he started to get WWE title shots not long after. He went for the championship. He was in the title picture. Once the wedding happened, he really elevated and then became the game. And even though the game was a promo package with JR, really that's when you saw the game really come to life to me.
I just think that basically, like you said, and like I was saying, that the guy, sometimes he was super selfish and definitely seemingly just said, fuck this, this is my shit. But then there were a lot of times where Triple H gave back right away. So it's like I think he knew this. This is why he, WrestleMania 22, he put over Cena. It's like, and other people have been put over and things like that, is because Triple H a lot of times will do the right thing. But
he's another one that says, "Oh, I'll always do what's best for business," but I don't think always. Most times, like he shouldn't have beaten Sting. That was one. Right. Shouldn't have beaten Booker T. Shouldn't. There's a few times where I don't think they should have beaten the Undertaker at that point.
Yeah, Triple H is just. I think like what you just said, that if I'd even say it to him, if I saw him, I'd say, I think you did do the right thing 90% of the time. But I think there's 10% where we all go, what? Like the Booker T thing is definitely number one, what the fuck? Let's get racist with them, and then I'm gonna beat you still. That's weird. And I know that's Vince's call. It wasn't Triple H's call. You know what I mean? So when people bring that up on him, I think that's a lot on Vince, although Triple H could have pushed better for it. But and the Sting thing for certainly is weird, But again, these are all things that it's well, but those are sort of Vince was the one that said, no, I don't want you to win. Now, I don't know. And Triple H.
Yeah, another one that people go to is he really stopped the Hurricane's push at that one point in time too. Weeks after the Hurricane beat The Rock, he was super, super over. And there was a story too about something happening backstage, and I never knew the true validity of it all, but you saw Triple H then go ahead and squash Hurricane right after, and that kind of really slowed his momentum. So could just be that was their plan the whole time, and everything else is speculatory, but the way everything else goes, it certainly seems like it's feasible. Could have happened.
Yeah.
Buried Paul London and Brian Kendrick when they came out to help him. He's gone ahead. And
well, because again, you got to think of it like this. The Rock is already a superstar. He's the guy for a while already. Stone Cold's been the guy. Everybody's been the guy. And there's Triple H, who's just sort of at Triple H in his mind, he's in his Hulk Hogan run. He's in his Stone Cold run. Those things. And so here comes Hurricane Helmsley, what? Hurricane Helms. Whatever. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah, close enough.
And he's oh, it's funny, and he's getting over with everybody. If you're Triple H, you're yo, forget this, man. I'm in the middle of my big run here. You're gonna stall me for this?
Show when he beat CM Punk at the Night of Champions show. Triple H had to win there. He couldn't let Punk win. Those kind of things. We saw it so many times.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon at all, but it's still, it is something.
Daniel, when are you going to stop being little bitch and face me in an explosive barbed wire match? He'll even let you bring your extra large boyfriend over there so he can watch in shock as I snap your chicken muscles.
Damn.
Listen up, you fucking vampire cocksucker. I will break your teeth out of your gums, and I'll stab your eyeballs out using your fucking molars, okay? You stupid idiot, Vic Joseph. You boring, tall douchebag who probably, sucked his mother's titty until you were fucking 13. You weird, fucking, goofy, goddamn hobgoblin-looking cocksucker. Fuck you, Vic Joseph. I hate you. Well, I couldn't... it's like my body resetting, bro.
Shit bum!
What is going on?
Colonel Santos is a Pacific Island wetback, you little Filipino horse humper. Open your mouth and drink my kid butter and Jeremiah Goodrape or jizz hands is done Friday.
Oh my god. AJ Adams going after Bullfrog.
Okay, wow.
I mean,
so
that's twice now that I've been talking, and then my motor skills disappeared for a minute.
That's the caffeine exiting your body.
Woof. Dude, I got fucking problems, bro. What is wrong? I'm not even on crack. That would explain everything if I was on crack.
Faster than I am. And how is it that I go to the kitchen, I lose my hat, and you somehow find yours?
Yeah, you lose a hat, I gain mine. Boom.
I can't sync up.
That's fucking
all right,
hilarious.
so the Elimination Chamber has never had a universal title match be defended inside of the chamber itself. I was really hoping at first, I was like, oh, that'd be a great match. Then I'm like, no, save Roman, make it feel more special anyways, and have a number one contendership. That's what they're doing, but they're doing it all on the same night. So technically there's 5 matches at Elimination Chamber, but realistically it's 4 matches because whoever wins the SmackDown Elimination Chamber will then go ahead and immediately face Roman Reigns after that match.
That night?
That night. So as soon as they win, Cage comes up and they're going to have Roman face whoever wins for the Universal Championship.
Good luck to that person.
That's why I said it feels so ridiculous. As of right now, Roman's, the favorite to win that match, and it's tied between Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan with the betting odds at this point in time for the Elimination Chamber SmackDown side of things.
Right.
And let's see, we have in the Raw Elimination Chamber match, Drew McIntyre is the big favorite at 1-2. So for every 2 you wager, you win 1. There you go. Bet Online is thinking that the current WWE champion will exit this match still as the champion, which makes sense with WrestleMania 37 on the horizon. And they're dead tied, as I said, with Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see who ends up walking out. Cesaro's right behind them, so we'll see what happens. But
I can't believe this Cesaro shit. I can't even, we wanted him to win stuff years ago, and now I just want him to go away.
I still like Cesaro. It's just, unfortunately, he's another one like a Jeff Hardy. We're like, okay, you're always going to enjoy watching him, but then, it's just, there's not much to really I like him. He's a great wrestler. He's an amazing wrestler, but there's just not a lot of personality to him, and there's not a lot of... There could be. When he started doing the Swiss Superman stuff, all right, initially that was good. Then he had his whole Bond-type gimmick. The Bar started to show some new sides to him, but we haven't really gotten anything. And the wrestling's good, but promos and everything else needs work, so...
Right. Yeah, I mean, his promos are so... There's nothing to get excited about with him other than his in-ring stuff. So there's just... What are you going to do? There's nothing else to it.
Exactly. And one last thing to bring up before we get into our predictions for the Elimination Chamber is that Keith Lee's status for the Elimination Chamber is still unknown. Now, he's supposed to have an elimination, he's supposed to have a match at Elimination Chamber against Bobby Lashley and Riddle. It's a triple threat for the United States Championship. But apparently, Keith Lee's promos have not, this is the quote, have not caught fire with Vince McMahon, and Vince doesn't understand Keith Lee. So we heard this a few weeks back when Keith Lee was sent to the big men class at the WWE Performance Center by Vince. So he thought that Keith needed to, work on a few things for the main roster cameras and TVs and stuff. But we don't know if they're still going to have him involved in the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view now. That's up in the air from what we're reading here. And it's like it's I can't really blame Vince. We've said the same thing since Keith's come up to the main roster. We don't get it. The Mr. Gentleman promo we've mocked dozens and dozens of times, rightfully so. So for Vince saying he doesn't understand the promos allegedly and doesn't get why everyone's so crazy about Keith Lee, so far there's nothing that's evident of him being amazing. At least, so do you blame creative for that? Do you blame Keith Lee? Do you blame Vince? I mean, is everybody kind of at fault here? They kind of changed Keith Lee coming in. He had new music, and then he had music again that got changed. He had a new outfit.
He debuted with that weird outfit. That's one thing I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have had that. I would have. Because
Vince didn't like his look, you could tell, so he covered him up. That's what Vince always does. When he doesn't like a guy that doesn't look super fit, he makes him wear a shirt.
Yep, I think he looks. I think he looks terrible. I think I would have. I would have said, grow that beard you had that time. Grow that beard and give him the trunks only, and have him come out and bill him as this fucking high impact, powerful dude who can kick ass. And don't overbook him. Book him as but book him against people that he can beat. Put him up against Dolph Ziggler. Let Dolph sell his ass off. Have this guy have a big fight with him and beat him, and then go on every week to do stuff and get rid of this. Excuse me while I tell you about myself. Like, get rid of that. Get rid of the Mr. Nice Guy promo. Never would have let that on TV. So it's weird. It's weird that sometimes Vince thinks he needs to change all these things. But then there's other things that Vince just leaves. Like, if I watched Keith Lee cut the fucking Mr. Nice Guy promo, and I'm Vince McMahon, I would have said, fucking awful. You're not doing that on Monday Night Raw. You going to do that on fucking TV? Salutations, Randy Orton. You're going to do that? You sound like a fucking idiot. Okay, we're not doing this. Fucking shut the fuck up. We're not doing this. We're cutting you're wearing trunks. You got a fucking big burly beard because you're a badass. You're Keith Lee. You play his regular music from NXT, that fucking rap song. I like the sound of that. Come out here, be confident, and be exciting. I want you to be exciting. I want Keith Lee to be, I want you to be electrifying. I want you to start moving a little more exciting. I want you not to stonewall down to the ring and say salutations. I want you to be I want you to come down to the ring like you're friggin' like you got a purpose, like you're angry all the time and your fists are balled up and you're like, let's fucking do this, let's go, let's do this.
I wish they had a transitional specialist. I don't know the word for it, but that's what I'm going to call it. Someone who specializes in transitioning people from NXT to the main roster. And what they do is, when said NXT star comes up, you don't do anything with them for 3 weeks to change them at all. Bring them in, unless you have some superb story idea already planned, bring them in exactly as they are in NXT. Yeah. If they were face, bring them in face. If they were heel, bring them in heel. If you have some massive plans, then so long as it's well thought out, go for it. But show why the NXT audience loved them to the main roster audience. 3 weeks. Give them good matches, a fun promo. If they're heels, get them a lot of heat, and then you can start making changes slowly. But reintroduce or allow the fans that already do know them and like them to have time to adjust to the changes.
Also, bringing them in bringing them in like they're this amazing thing that everybody's heard of is also bad, because you get what happened with Keith Lee or any of these guys where they stand in the ring and they smile like they're amazing and stuff, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? It's like, dude, did they ever bring anybody else up anywhere like this before? Unless, like you said, it was a big like we got an idea, here comes the Undertaker, or whatever. Otherwise that didn't, Triple H didn't come up, like Keith Lee.
Yeah, here's my idea with what to do with this star and this star.
But he did. But Triple H and Undertaker, they had gimmicks. So it's that makes sense. They have gimmicks. But it's
Seth Negan says don't do anything 6 months to a year. I mean, yeah, that's even more of an ideal amount of time. But I was saying at least a few weeks to get the audience comfortable. And yeah, Bad Bunny's getting a WrestleMania spot, not Keith Lee. But Bad Bunny also sold millions of dollars of merchandise. I don't think Keith Lee's selling up the merch stand while they're not touring. So
Keith Lee has done that spot. All Keith Lee has done is bore the shit out of me. Sadly. I mean, I like Keith Lee in NXT. If we're talking about NXT Keith Lee and we're talking about Keith Lee and wherever else, fuck yeah, I loved him.
Yep.
It's the way they're using him. This sucks. This guy sucks right now.
I agree entirely. So with that match, if it is a triple threat, we have Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee, and Riddle. Initially, I had assumed that if it was a triple threat, that's the easiest way to get a clean victory for someone without damaging Bobby Lashley. He could be protected. So Riddle could be pinned, Keith Lee could win the belt, or vice versa for Riddle to win. But still, now I think Lashley is going to retain, especially if it's just going to be him and Riddle, or hearing how little faith they have in Keith Lee.
Keith Lee's taking the pin.
Riddle can beat Lashley, so I think Lashley retains here.
Yeah, Keith Lee's going to take the pin, even though Riddle has been taking pins. But I think this is going to be a whole thing of, hey Keith, you're lucky to be on the card. You kind of suck, and Riddle's been taking pins and really doing a good job, or a good enough job. So Keith Lee is going to eat the pin, I think.
Yep, and TSS makes a great point. It is Vince because he approves everything. Yes, but I guess with some of the promos with Keith too, I mean, it's also whatever producer wrote that. Vince still has the final say so, but not how are you going to deliver it, So I'm sure Vince pictured something in his mind. This is how you're going to say it. This is how you're going to do it. And then he gets the opposite.
But you know what? Everything is off time. I have the feeling that everything is off time and everything is in a bad timing. So put it this way with Vince McMahon, right? So somebody's like, Vince, you don't understand about this guy, Aleister Black, blah, 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 blah. And then Vince doesn't listen. Hey, Vince, you don't understand. This is why he was good in NXT, Vince. This is why he was good in NXT, Vince. And then Vince does it, and it doesn't really work as well. And then Vince goes, I don't like it. It didn't really work. And then someone goes, Vince, this is what Keith Lee did. Please, Vince, this is what Keith Lee did in NXT. And Vince goes, all right, damn it, do whatever he did. I don't care. And then it sucks. It's always never on the right thing. Like when Vince should do nothing to Aleister Black, Vince does too much and not enough. And when Vince should definitely step in and do something with Keith Lee to change him a little bit for the main roster, he doesn't do anything. So that was the time he decided to listen. To me, that I swear to fuck, that's what always happens. Is like they're always on the wrong fucking wavelength. Somebody's always on the wrong wavelength. Like it should have been it should have been immediately known right away. Like right away when Keith Lee went, salutations, blah blah blah. Like that should have been immediately. Like when Conan said, hope to God Conan's okay with COVID, he's gonna get out of the hospital. When he said fucking, are you gonna fuck the guy? Like that's what everybody is basically thinking that has a brain. Like that this guy sounds retarded out there. Like he sounds like a special needs person with a microphone, like on WWE Raw, like, or like he's got some kind of weird, like fucking, like salutations.
Riddle's not that far off.
Like I mean, like what are you doing? What are you talking about? Like are you like is something going on in your head? Are you like a weird guy who thinks he's like from an Ivy League school who's supposed to be a big guy? Like, dude, make Keith Lee the fucking. I don't know. It's like Mark Henry. Imagine Mark Henry. Like Mark Henry was always a little boring to me because Mark Henry was just kind of like, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like let's see what happens. But you can respect that because it's actually still good because it's like that's a man who's powerful and here he comes. He means business. I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna come out there and break his fucking leg in the ring. And you're like, damn, Mark Henry, fucking here he comes. This guy's a fucking goddamn house of fire. Or like a brick house, right? But Keith Lee Keith Lee has more like versatility in the ring and agility in the ring than Mark has. So
yeah, look at the pace that he can pull off at times, especially against smaller guys. But look at the one where he sent Adam Cole flying into the next universe. That was great.
I say to Keith Lee, man, listen, I want Keith Lee to be kind of like Mark Henry meets somebody more like a little bit electrifying, right? Not quite The Rock, but like, somebody who kind of like has an excitement when he comes out. Like think about Hulk Hogan, the Black Hulk Hogan. Like when Keith Lee comes out, he's like, what's up? It's me. He's ready to go and he's got fire and he's going off the ropes. He runs off the ropes when he first comes out in the ring. Then he looks fucking tough and then he goes, ah, and then he fucking he's listening to the crowd. He's looking around. He's ready to go and he's ready to fucking talk shit on the microphone if he has to. But I don't want some guy who comes out and goes, salutations. Like, fucking, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, I mean, so, like, and I don't care. Yeah, it sort of worked in a way in NXT because when Keith Lee was allowed to just show how fucking great Keith Lee is in the ring, and then he gets on the mic, he goes, you know what you need to realize is that I'm Keith Lee. Like, that works because there's a crowd and he's had all this excitement in the ring, and so he's connecting. It's all just hitting. It doesn't matter. But when you go out there flat...
He had those moments too. You're on to that. You're not wrong. He was making it work. He had, fan support for that. He made a great debut to the main roster initially with the Survivor Series match that he had the year before. So the fans still kind of might, know of him, recognize him if they're not watching NXT. He had a great performance there. There was something to go off of here. And like you said, they didn't get to show his skill. He had short matches. I think he pinned Orton the first week, and then after that, he continually lost for like the next 3 or 4 weeks. Even if it's by count out, DQ, whatever, he lost. He continually lost, and then he lost the WWE title shot. He lost a few other matches, and then he did nothing for a while. So why are you supposed to enjoy him when you've shown us that he's lost and talk like an idiot on the microphone? I mean, that's it.
I just don't know how Vince doesn't go like, oh my God, damn, this sucks. This is terrible. And why Vince doesn't go in the back and say, listen, Keith, we're going to do a whole different thing with you. After what I saw out there, it's nothing. See, I did
say, oh, this sucks, because that's why he sent him down to the Performance Center, not realizing that it's also in part the creative style with him. But
I guess Vince, I mean, I don't think Vince knows. Vince, what sucks is the guy, people, I'm telling you this, people are sick and tired of the goody two-shoes people or the good guy stuff or the soft-spoken people. People want in-your-face, real, badass, savage. They want savage and real and gotcha. They want
that was my
gotcha.
Monday. That was the best thing, was Drew McIntyre acting like a real person. At the opening of Raw, remember, he was angry, pissed off. He warned Miz. Miz opened his mouth. He headbutted him, chucked the briefcase, and walked out of there. He didn't come in and say, "Oh, I'm so happy you're here to challenge me." And I remember when I wanted to be the champion when I was a young fan. And no, he was pissed off, and you could relate to him. That's what you need. Faces don't have to be all goody two-shoe morons, and heels don't all have to be chicken shit idiots either. They pretty much canned everybody into these two subsects. So you're either a total moron or a baffled idiot. There's no winning.
Yeah. I don't know. Tomorrow night I'll monetize this. I think we're going to have to cut Bullfrog's private parts off, though. I really do think that's
shit bum
going to have to happen. Yo, AJ Adams says, every time I take a shit and look down, it's Colonel Santos and his family. Oh, my God. Oh, no, AJ Adams. $5 shit bum. All to say that horrid stuff about him. I can't believe it, AJ Adams.
Did you just donate to Joe?
You're crazy.
Did you just donate to Joe?
Oh, now they're fighting.
Thank you for the donation.
They're fighting via donations.
You donated.
They're Hispanic man versus black man. The minorities are fighting everybody. I don't understand. At least leave the whites out of it.
Oh, wait, man.
Colonel Santos tipped $3. Hey AJ Adams, you spooky fuck, know your place and bow down to your superior. You should be opening your mouth as I shit inside it with crispy crumbs of KFC. Bet you'll love that.
Jesus.
I'll call my Filipino Mindanao terrorist. You'll be raped instead of hangings.
Oh my God, man! I mean, like, these are really two people. Like, this is really a real Hispanic man and black man having a fight with each other. I've never seen it like this. This is crazy. At least they left the whites out of it.
Are you ready?
JD Venom tipped $5. I didn't get the Shakespeare quotes from the Keith Lee donation, but now after Yal's conversation about him and re-listening to him speak, he does sounds like he's speaking poetry. Fucking atrocious. He sucks. Go
it
next,
really is
god
bad.
damn
He
piece
sounds
of
like
shit.
he's
Okay, I went too far.
I'll defend him in this way. JD Venom, I'll defend him in this way, JD Venom. He does kind of remind me of a character that does work in a superhero movie or a superhero comic book that you all know and we all know, there's one character that Keith Lee reminds me of. And in a movie, maybe that works, but in wrestling right now for me it doesn't work. But there is one person he reminds me of. Anybody take a guess at who Keith Lee reminds me of?
I'm not sure.
He's also a big guy, and he's a blue guy. And he's in the comic books. He's part of Marvel. What?
So we're gonna go Beast. Is that
Beast?
what you're referring?
Exactly. Keith
McCoy.
Lee reminds me of Beast. Put on some glasses and give him a book, and he kind of has that.
Yeah, the good old McCoy. You know, I have my knowledge and I can tutor you in the ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that. Yep,
That's what he reminds me of.
Spot on.
Yeah.
I
See?
didn't think of that first, but yeah.
That's
The Blob, Fat Albert, Captain Marvel, Cookie Monster. Hey,
looks
that's
like
blue.
Albert, looks like Fat Albert, but talks like Beast.
Yeah,
get
Mystique.
it.
Hey, that would have been a good one.
Oh, his
Medium,
penis, his
pound.
penis is Mystique. I mean, let's,
Yeah,
people
Beast. Hey, got a black Bane.
people got it though in the chat pretty quickly. Once I said blue, they were like, all right, we got it.
Was it?
Yeah, but he really does. He reminds me of that, sitting in a corner reading a book. And that's, and there is something to that of the guy that's too cool, like everybody else is freaking out, like, I'm coming for the belt, you son of a bitch. And he's like, listen, Randy, all we have to do tonight is go out there, break the other guy's bones, and then when it comes down to pay-per-view night, me and you, well, we'll do our business. But until then, we got to work together, Randy.
Yep.
And he's like, it's like, okay, there's something to that, and I understand the idea of that he's this intellectual type, but it's just, I just feel it's clever in a way, but it doesn't really work for wrestling right now.
No, not in the main roster, and you can tell Vince just never watches NXT, so he didn't know what he was in for.
But also, Jake, it was also that they booked him so strong. Like, here comes this most amazing guy, and he's going to beat all these people, and he's going to be so amazing.
Randy Orton right away, then he lost. That was
Yeah.
the thing. So he started losing right after the first week. Came in like a house of fire, like you're saying, and then just lost.
Yeah, and just the fact that he speaks elegantly like he's an amazing thing, then he loses. There's just so much inconsistency with him. But it's so simple to me to fix Keith Lee, to make him good. And Vince, I don't know why Vince doesn't say, listen, we're gonna turn this guy into a mid-card fucking badass. He's going to be involved in great mid-card stories where he wins 75% of the time, or he wins 60% of the time, but he loses 80% of the time when it comes to a title match. But he beats everybody, and then he gets in a program with somebody. Maybe even if Bobby Lashley doesn't end up going into the main event at WrestleMania and they end up doing something else or whatever the case is, the U.S. title would be a nice match. Him versus Bobby Lashley for the U.S. title could be a good time where maybe Keith doesn't even capture it, but he chases. He doesn't capture it. Somebody else interferes. Then he gets in a feud with them. Then it eventually leads to a mid-card title, and he has all these great things you can do with him. Why is he booked like the most amazing thing, almost as good as the top guys, but then loses to guys who are on the mid card? It's like you're sending signals all like, what the hell is going on? And then he's got no personality. And so I just feel bad because I feel like if people just put care into these guys, like if you cared a lot about these guys and changing stuff to make it better, it would be better a little bit, even if it wasn't. Like Keith Lee right now is like a 3 out of 10 superstar on the main roster, but in NXT he was an 8 out of 10. So, hello, like make this guy. If you put some of the effort in that we're putting into him right now, he would go from a 3 to at least a 5 or a 6. Like you're telling me he would be worse or stay at a 3 or a 4? I don't think so. If you put Joe Cronin or Jake or anybody here in charge of, hey, listen, do whatever you want with him. It's on you. Fucking, well, let's go. Because and no title shots, and he can't wrestle certain people. Okay, fine, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
There's a rumor going around that Keith Lee will turn heel in the match, and that's what they're going to have him, going forward. So Riddle and Keith Lee could feud. If that's the case, okay, maybe it'll.
Oh
give
God,
him
it's
some
so
new
bad
legs
though.
to stand on, but I don't really see him working great as a heel. Not in this climate. I could be wrong. I got to give it a chance. But if that is what's coming to fruition, I'm not excited. So
Well, Blip brings up a good point, and this is something I actually said to do with him a long time ago. Except it's not the Incredible Hulk, Blip. It's actually, just like we said, it's kind of like Beast. He's cool, but then when you poke him, he goes crazy. But it's kind of like Hulk, you know? He's like, listen, I'm not going to be provoked by a guy like you, you know? And then he gets punched, and then he goes, ah! And he's like, oh, stop, and then he just goes crazy. I think we said that. We said that like forever ago. Like I was like, wouldn't that be funny?
Inquisitive, let him outthink his opponents. You know, you can rely on brains instead of brawn. But that's like the dichotomy of the character. The fact that he's so freaking big and strong, but he doesn't like to use his strength.
Or he snaps in the match. Like you know how Hulk Hogan used to Hulk up, and at the end, you know, Hulk starts doing the thing, and he's hulking up, and like give that to Keith Lee and be like, Keith, like you're such a good guy. You're like oh, Jake, imagine this. And this is sort of what we pitched 6 months ago, but it's a little different because Blip brought this up. Can you imagine if Keith Lee was just this? I'm a Boy Scout. I'm a father of a Boy Scout. I'm a man. I'm a great husband. I'm a leader, and I do the right thing. And you just put them in there with the worst person. You know, it's somebody who will cheat and do all these things, and he'll be like, I'll never do that because that's
Randy
not
Orton.
who I am, you know. Yeah, Randy Orton. And you know, in the match, Orton cheats, right? And he's been doing this to Keith Lee, but in the match, you know, Orton's cheating and whatever. And at the very end, you know, the ref isn't looking, so you know, he takes a cheap shot at Keith Lee, and that's when Keith snaps at the end, right? And he goes crazy, and he starts like fucking snapping, and he goes into this other mode, becomes a different character almost. I'd pitch it like Hulk Hogan's almost build up, and Randy's like, "What the hell's going on?" And he's like, and Randy's like, holy shit, what the fuck's going on? And Randy starts punching him, and Keith Lee's just like, and it's not affecting him. Fuck, boom, boom, boom. He's not affecting him. Super cartoon stuff. Yeah, total no-so. Super cartoon like Hulk Hogan. And he's firing away. And then finally Randy comes off the ropes. Keith Lee ducks him, ducks a clothesline. Keith Lee goes off the ropes, and then he hits Randy with a cross body. And then Keith Lee stands up, and then he takes this fucking straps down. And fucking, and he just fucking goes crazy. And he beats the shit out of Orton. And then he hits him with the finisher, and that's it. And it's like Keith Lee is known to snap, to have this issue, kind of like how, what was it, Ken Shamrock used to kind of do that?
Yeah, Shamrock was the world's most dangerous man, but I was going to say, make it,
but Ken used to snap.
Not in the same regards, but in a sense, make it like how that Finn Balor has his demon persona. You can have him, he doesn't have to change and all that, but there's something inside of Keith that comes out when the rage builds. And that other side is what, you know, it doesn't have to be the Fiend where you change costumes, he wears a mask. Just, you know, an alternate personality, in a way, you know, he rages, he becomes stronger. That would work great. Yeah. That would be something to enjoy. And yeah, Eli.
And the first time he does it, Jake, the first time he does it, he doesn't know what to do with the rage. He goes over to the rope and like fucking gimmick the rope and have him fucking rip the rope off in half like that.
Have him pull the whole friggin' turnbuckle out.
Yeah,
right out of the ring.
Like do something crazy powerful that's like, what the fuck? And like Randy Orton can't believe it. And then after fucking he beats Orton, he whips Randy with the ring ropes. No, dude,
hey,
just make
you know that
crazy.
stuff is go for it.
Whatever, but it just
let him whip him.
And then it would explain, right, the calm demeanor, you know, like, and then in the back you can do all these things where someone's like bumps into him, you know, and he's like, "Oh, excuse me, man." And then the guy's like, "Why don't you watch where you're walking?" And Keith's like, "I was just sitting here. You were the one walking, sir." You know, and the guy's like, "Yeah, so you're a smartass, huh? You're a new guy you're a new guy smartass, huh?" And the guy shoves Keith Lee in the face, and then
I would have Keith apologize still here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry for being in your way, like meek and weak, you know, essentially until he snaps.
And dude, imagine if after, and then the guy slaps Keith Lee across the face, and then walks away, and then if you heard Keith Lee in the background going, like fucking Ryback. And then he comes up behind him and just kills him and then just destroys the fuck out of him. I think people at home would get a kick out of that. I don't know, maybe not, but I think people might get a kick out of that. But I mean, these are just ideas, you know. And this
is just fun to a fantasy book because everything's so bland and boring. I mean, look at this right now. We that was our first match out of 5, right? 5. Really, it's only 4 because Roman's taking on the winner as soon as the match ends.
Right.
And now it's 3 because it's still listed on the card. We have Asuka versus Lacey Evans. It's not going to happen. She's pregnant. but it's still advertised on WWE.com. So do they have Charlotte step in to take on Asuka? Maybe. I don't know. Are they just going to cancel the match entirely? That seems more probable. Or are they going to have a stupid, moment on the pay-per-view that isn't a match and waste a bunch of time? I hope not. But that, so now SmackDown is going to have to add at least one or two matches. Maybe the tag titles over there with the Street Profits, who we haven't seen in ages. SmackDown did some decent stuff for their chamber match. We can't even make a prediction for that because it's not a match. So go into the next one. We have the SmackDown side of things with their Elimination Chamber #1 contendership match.
Jake, hate to interrupt you. Just had one more idea.
Oh, hit me.
When Keith Lee flips out, if he's still wearing the singlet stuff, the whole singlet thing that Vince makes him wear. First of all, I wouldn't have him wear them, so this whole thing wouldn't work.
Yeah, that would be long gone.
Yeah. So,
but
two things. One, if he has the singlet still, when he goes crazy, he rips the singlet off, and under the regular plain black singlet that he has on, he rips it off, and the other singlet is fucking bright crazy colors, or like bright red and black and white or something. And when he rips that off, that means he's going crazy. And underneath is
his
the logo,
he's
Superman,
persona, like a different side to him. He doesn't need a mask or anything. But
dude, that'd be wicked fun. Oh my god, dude! Out. Can you imagine how fun that would be? Or
that would be great.
Or he wears a t-shirt when he wrestles, but then when he flips out and he gets angry, he rips the t-shirt off. Yeah. And fucking on his whole stomach is painted like a crazy face, or
you can do so much with airbrush that would work with you got a big canvas for him.
Dude, whatever. Just something that. Do you understand how the kids would get excited by that? Little kids watching.
And no, you can't turn everybody heel. I agree with Seth Negan, but he would work as a heel there and a face. It would work either which way. You could do it both ways with this. It would be ideal as a face, but it could work in both regards. I forget who mentioned it before in the chat, but you just saw Riddle making fun of him, and already he's really serious. And I think it was Eli that said it. And he's not chuckling anymore, and he's not. So it seems like he's getting angry, and that's going to be leading to him turning heel on Matt Riddle. So that's why it feels just so lackluster. Come on, that's there's no reason for you to turn. It just because he teased you and made jokes that really was at the expense of everyone. I don't know. So SmackDown has King Corbin and Sami Zayn qualify by beating Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Awesome. Good idea there. And then Cesaro and Daniel Bryan teamed up for an amazing tag match. They beat Ziggler Rude, so they're the final two spots in the chamber. So all in all, we have those four with Jey Uso and Kevin Owens. Honestly, it would be cool in a way to see Uso win, just because then he would have to take on Roman afterwards. And does he, say, "Oh, I don't want the title match," or does he turn on Roman? That's a kind of interesting thing, but that's a bit soon to do that. So you don't want, that they're working together. Kevin Owens, I kind of feel, is the best one to win here because he's already lost to Reigns a bunch. Multiple times he's gotten beat. Last man standing. The other regular matches, Roman said he was done with him. Owens won't let it go.
Their chemistry is too good. Right now, Owens and Roman's chemistry, believe it or not, even though I would say that Owens still has this vibe about him of I don't care. I don't really seem to care that much, and what are they doing with me? Even though Owens has a little bit of that vibe, this has turned into quite the rivalry, and their chemistry is really good. This is one of the best rivalries that Roman Reigns has had. So the only thing I was worried about was how Owens feels like he's in obscurity, and he sort of feels like he doesn't care about stuff. I hate to say that. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's him or the company or the way he just appears.
He's been passionate before. Now he doesn't feel as passionate
he
as
feels
other times. He feels very aloof, I'm just doing this to do it.
Yeah, the company guy, okay, they want me to wrestle, do this. They want me to be the jobber guy for this guy. Okay, whatever. They want me to do this, that, the other. They want me to host the Kevin Owens show. Okay, he's kind of like the Miz in a way, but he's better obviously than the Miz. Or at least he is right now because he's not boring. But so anyway, the bottom line is, you're right. Kevin Owens.
I think it comes down
Roman.
to Owens. Probably not Bryan yet, unless they want to start that story. So Daniel Bryan does win, puts on this great performance, and then, oh shit, Roman comes out, destroys him. Then we get Roman and Bryan at the next.
I think
pay-per-view
Owens
at
won a
Fastlane.
position. I think Owens won a position over Daniel Bryan. I think he wins the position. If I'm Vince, I'd say, man, sorry, Daniel. You could do well, but I mean, this is.
I think Owens just makes more sense here. With him and Roman already have the feud ongoing, and you don't ruin anybody else by having them get beat by Roman so quickly. Even though it's after an Elimination Chamber match, you still don't want to see anybody get squashed when they're trying to build somebody new up. So I wouldn't want to see that go anywhere else. So let it go to Owens, who already had the feud, the story. He wins, looks good there, loses to Roman. And the last match we have is Drew McIntyre defending his WWE title against AJ, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Kofi.
So
I think
Drew retains.
Drew retains, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's as simple as that, honestly. I don't even know who they're going to have Drew face past that point. It seems like they're going to have him face Sheamus at the next pay-per-view for Fastlane, and then Mania. It could be Lashley. It could be insert name here.
Insert
really
big
aren't
time
sure.
a mystery guy coming back or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that I actually am starting to think Lesnar is gonna come back out of nowhere and like get in his face at the last minute to go to Mania. But
yeah, there was a rumor going around that Lesnar and Goldberg would have a rematch at Mania again. That we heard it previously to the Rumble, and then when he didn't win the title, it kind of faded. Now it's sparking again, and you hear people saying that creative wants to have the match and do it one more time, and that would be a big spectacle for Mania. And
I just think that either way, Drew's gonna be one of the first people in the Elimination Chamber match. He'll be starting or something like that, and he's gonna run through everybody because they're gonna use this to make Drew look really strong.
I hope so. I hope that's what they do,
because that's what they've been doing with everything. Bringing Goldberg, everything is to make Drew look the most legitimate he can going to being into WrestleMania.
I still don't know why they took the title off of him at Hell in a Cell for that short 2-3 week span.
I think I kind of can figure it out in a way, although it doesn't. We wouldn't have done it or whatever.
Exactly. It just doesn't. I could see what they were trying to go with, but since they folded on it so quick, it just didn't make any logical sense.
Who won the belt? I forget.
What's that?
Who took the belt off him?
Randy Orton.
Oh, that's right. Right. Okay, so yeah,
at Hell in a Cell.
So I think their thinking at that time, in my opinion, was that they wanted Drew to win back the belt at WrestleMania. I think they wanted him to come back, face Orton again.
Yeah,
at WrestleMania.
That was gonna be. It seemed their plan because he never got his actual Mania people win. But then
when they realized what they wanted to do with Orton,
Mm-hmm.
They were like, okay, well, wait a minute. He doesn't need the belt. And if he has the belt, he's going to run into The Fiend or Edge or somebody.
Exactly. And they should have thought of this ahead of time before taking the belt off of him.
Right.
I mean, what a shitty loss just to get it right back.
But it's okay because in a weird way, the other thing about that is it does show that Drew can lose still. And it also gave him something to chase for again in a way and sort of have to climb a mountain again. And he gets it right back. So, that's not the worst thing. He's been champion almost the whole year. So there was a little blip in the radar, but he went right back to it. Now he's dominant again. But you're right. And if you wanted to build this guy as what an amazing run, Mania to Mania with the belt is... has that been done since?
As we knew, so that was their plan. Orton has the title. We said this at last Mania.
Has that been done
shortly
since Hogan?
after that they wanted to have Orton have the title, and then Edge takes it from him. And it was supposed to happen possibly sooner than Mania, and then Edge got injured, and all their plans changed. So Edge ended up winning the Rumble. But
has that been done since Hulk Hogan? That the WWE champion had the belt at Mania, and then had it the next Mania. Even that doesn't.
Yeah, there's been a few times. CM Punk had it for 400-something days. Didn't he make it to that point? Or it was close, if not. I could have sworn Lesnar had it 2 years in a row recently. Didn't he have it at like 33 and 34? Or was that the Universal?
But he carried it from WrestleMania to the next WrestleMania?
I thought Brock did for one of those.
Shit, I don't know. Maybe Brock did. But I mean, the fact that they were going to
I
have
could be off. I have to check, but
the fact that Drew won the belt at last year's WrestleMania and then is going to show up at this year's WrestleMania potentially with the belt, I don't remember the last time the guy did that. I mean, like, it was a big time guy, I would think. You know, Punk was Survivor Series to next Rumble.
okay, so it was 4 days, but it just wasn't from Mania to Mania. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he didn't win it at Mania, but
Think
I wasn't
about it.
sure.
Like Hogan, maybe Hogan at WrestleMania 1 and 2 and WrestleMania
Because
3.
he won the Universal title from Goldberg at 33, and then didn't he defend it to Roman at 34, and
Cena.
Roman lost.
A lot of
And then
people
Roman
are
had
saying
the cage
Cena.
match after that and still lost, and Roman didn't get the title till later that year, and then he got sick and left. I thought was how it worked.
But either way, whatever it is, we'll figure the stats out later. It'll be interesting to do it. But
Yeah,
But
so I'm
there
pretty
is
sure
very
Brock
few.
did it. Cena's done it. There's been a few.
Hogan's done it. Brock's done it. Cena's done it. And even Hogan didn't do it a lot because Hogan would always, would win at Mania, but then they'd have to get the belt off him at some point so that he could then have to do it again at the next Mania. Because Hogan, you have to make the guy the underdog sort of for a second. Like, okay, Hogan's the champion, yay, and then he's the champion for 6 months touring the world, and then eventually something bad, dastardly happens, and he loses the belt. And then he has to
Brock
overcome
held
it.
it for 504 days. He won at WrestleMania 33, and then Roman Reigns took it at SummerSlam the following year.
Okay.
So he won it in April 2nd, 2017. He lost it August 19th, 2018.
Yeah, so Brock, Cena, Hogan, and now Drew. Pretty crazy company. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
that's
trying to think. Obviously, Kofi didn't make it.
Hey Joe and Jake.
Bryan didn't.
2 questions. Number 1, what programs do you use to record overall? I mean the ones that allow you to put the graphics, the voice changer you do sometimes, the random tracks you rap to, etc. Can you name me all of them?
It's going to cost you $300 in my Joe Cronin training program. But I'm using I use XSplit for the broadcast, and I use the mixer is Yamaha.
Yamaha mixer is what gives you the audio, voice changer abilities, and I use XSplit as well. I like that for the most part.
Yeah.
The rest is, if you need specific help, go to Joe's Patreon. He actually has a tier where he'll help you with your YouTube stuff. So look into it.
I think I just told him right there. You're good. But yeah, if you want more help,
Well, as I said, if he wants specifics.
I'll grow your whole
Please
YouTube
look
channel
into
though.
it.
I'll make your YouTube channel grow. You want to do that?
I think Vince is making a casket for Adam Cole's career right now as we speak for when he makes his main roster debut. Next to Aleister Black. Buried.
God Phoenix.
Buried.
Thank you, God Phoenix. Yeah, it's exactly why I hate when people come up to NXT. My answer is go back to NXT. Stay in NXT. I hate when they come up. I hate talking about it. Don't want them to do it.
Well, speaking of Sith Negan, the awesome patron himself, he sent me this.
Colonel
so we'll get into it.
Santos him going to fuck your mom like the island immigrant stog. She is him going to come in her pussy, then make you eat while him cutting your throat, then put a gun in your mom's ass and Dane'll murder her Filipino hillbilly ass.
Jesus. Good God. AJ Adams, thanks for becoming a $5 shit bum. Buenos noches. What was that, Jake?
Sorry, that broke me for a second.
Jesus.
The one and only Sith Negan said that what needs to be done is when NXT talent is called up to the main roster, they should be airing vignettes announcing their arrival on Raw or SmackDown 2 weeks to a month ahead of time. 1 week before their official main roster debut, do a sit-down interview hyping what they've done in NXT, show off highlights. That's a great point. Show what fans can expect from them. So you give them the one-on-one heel or face interviews. Get that sit down, get that done. This way you show character. That's a great point. And then he said, that's what wrestling style is all about. Instead of just not knowing anything about them and treating them as they just signed a contract with a company, now you'll know something about them.
Yeah.
You figure they have 30 plus creative writers and producers on the main roster, and you can't designate 5 people to keep their eyes on NXT and NXT UK products. He said that way, when you were called up to the main roster, Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon would know everything about them beforehand, and no changes would need to be, made for a while, if ever. And that's a fantastic point that I was trying to convey is spot on there, Seth. You nailed it. Honestly, I wish that they would watch their own products to be like, hey, this is what's going on in NXT. That's why I was so worried with Adam Cole, because we're like, oh, we hear he's going to be the face and the rest are going to turn heel. Now he's heel, so all right, it's a little bit of plans change. It's good, it works, but him going to the main roster, it scares the crap out of me.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't.
But why can't they have people watching NXT and monitoring and being like, okay, this is a good idea. This is what we should be. Oh, this storyline is really good. Well, this doesn't fit with the main roster, but maybe we can adapt it, and that would be ideal. They should be talking to each other, but you can tell the communication is non-existent.
I feel like the day Adam Cole comes up to meet with Vince goes, "What? I already have an AJ Styles." I mean, like, what else?
I already got it, baby.
Vince will just see it that way. He'll just be like, "Yeah, this is another one."
It's just ridiculous that we have 2 weeks after the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. It's this Sunday, and we only have 3 matches, essentially.
Dude, what is going on?
It's mind-blowing to me. I'm sorry, but for as much crap as I give AEW, at least we know every week what's going to be on the next Dynamite. At least most of it we know, so we know what's going to happen. They book their pay-per-views because they're so few and far between, months in advance, if not weeks in advance for the most part. So at least as advertised, they're getting what you expect and they're building towards it. May not always be the best build, but at least they're trying that regard. Here, we're going to have to wait till Sunday and we're going to get more thrown together matches. Why? Where's the IC title? Why have an Elimination Chamber match for the IC title? Forget having Drew defend it then. Have an IC title, where the tag team universal title, the tag team titles in the Elimination Chamber, those matches were actually quite fun. They were just chaos. That worked out well. Do something like that. As we said the other day, we hear that Jeff Hardy is going to be doing some huge stunt and they're trying to rehearse some things. And I'm sure it'll be somewhat chaotic, but the Chamber can tell some very interesting stories by the way that they let wrestlers in at certain times. Last year, we saw them attempt that with the women's, and it failed spectacularly. Baszler got she destroyed everybody, but it wasn't in the best fashion. So, people are upset that there's no women chamber matches either. But if you look back, it wasn't exactly knocking down anybody's TVs watching that. So.
Yeah, Moxley is gonna die. Someone said in the chat on the bar.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And the last thing I wanted to bring up, Joe, just to set you off, is that an NXT referee is called out for being a white supremacist? What? Well, yeah, because he's in a photo with all of the other. It's WWE referee Drake Wirtz. He's always drawn attention to himself and his QAnon association and all this. So I feel like he's baiting people with this. But all of the referees are there taking a photo together, and then he's giving the okay sign.
I see the okay sign everywhere, by the way, every day. Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know how that. That was just 4chan and QAnon, I guess.
Dude, I've seen people
to believe it's something racist. But
yeah, like, dude, but they actually list this on places. Have seen black, white, Hispanic, everybody doing the fucking okay sign everywhere, left and right, all the time, still. And I see it on. I saw a company car the other day there was like their logo, and it's not like it's. You go, whoever tweeted that should kill themselves.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, listen,
cracking me up. He said Vince McMahon would think Adam Cole is Michael Cole's son.
Right.
He'd just be like, "Oh, you want to work in keeping the family business? That's great."
Obviously, white supremacists are fucking like everybody's a white.
Oh
my God, they're all white supremacists.
It's directly associated with white power. Nobody else in the photo is holding their fingers that way, but he made sure to position his hand so the circle is facing the camera, not this way. Why would you hold your hand this way? That's unnatural. I would be like, okay, that's same thing with peace sign. All the referees are holding their fingers up in one way, shape, or form. So what does it matter?
Dude, people have gone full retarded in this country.
I just don't understand how a hand gesture makes you racist.
Well, it can if there were really a gesture, but this gesture isn't known as that.
Well,
They just
well, that's what I'm saying. Even a Nazi salute, even an okay, even whatever you want to go ahead and put, it can be racist. I get that. But for him just to go ahead and hold up a hand gesture does not make you racist.
Yeah.
If he was standing there with a, in a Klan rally and verbally and, physically attacking people for their race and that'd be different. But him standing there with a hand gesture does not make you racist.
There's too many people being called white supremacists. It's like there's not that, there really isn't that many. Like they're out there, but they're pretty far and few, they're rare. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what about God Phoenix making a great point? What about Cena? He always does the the OK sign. That's Cena's all his merch has the 2 OK signs on it. So is he the ultimate white supremacist?
Well, to be honest, I really do. Let's come out and be honest. John Cena probably is a racist. Like let's just call it like it is.
That's why he's taking the peacekeeper gimmick real to life.
That's why he shaved his head like he always did. He kind of looked like a Nazi. To think about it, John Cena looks like a Nazi.
He fled to Canada not to film anything. He was just so worried that he was going to invade the next protest and just kill.
Well, no, he flew to Canada because he heard that there were way more white people in Canada. He was like, in Canada it's like 88% white, and in America now it's like only 60%. So he's like, I got to get out of America. So he is racist. He went to Canada because he was like, there's more white people in Canada. I'm getting out of here. Fuck America. Fuck America's a big mixing pot of everybody. I got to get out of here. I'm John Cena. I got to get up to Canada where it's still 80% white. That's what it is, Jake. He is a Nazi. John Cena's a Nazi, everybody. Did you know that? Holy fuck. I always knew John Cena was a Nazi. Of course he is.
I assumed, but now I know.
Unbelievable. What a Nazi he is.
Hustle, loyalty, respect.
Hustle, loyalty,
respect.
And the insert German word, I don't know.
Yeah. Gleifen.
Heinz.
There you go. Means attack.
Yeah. I mean, I basically, like, when anybody tells me about these SJW stories now.
Yeah, Snowflake being upset nonsense.
Yeah, he's a Nazi. Chris, he's a Nazi, bro. Sorry, it's not a joke.
It's just as bad as we discussed.
It's not a joke. I don't know why you're saying it's a joke in the chat. It's not a joke. It's not funny.
No, why would we laugh about?
That's why Nikki Bella left him. Sorry, your hero's a Nazi. Sorry, is it hurt? Is it hurting you that your hero is a Nazi?
Like, I can't stand any of this.
Yeah, look at how mad he is in the chat. He's like, it's not funny anymore. Yeah, sorry. Truth hurts, doesn't it? Cena's a Nazi. I know he's from Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts. I know a Nazi Massachusetts person when I see him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, Natalya, she's another one. She's up in arms still over this stupid WWE on Fox, Twitter account posting their graphic to build your own team for X amount of money.
I hate her.
They put a dollar amount on everybody. So are they supposed to apologize to the men wrestlers and to every football team that they did this with recently, and every soccer team and baseball team, and
it's just
for every
special
guy
Natalya.
That they assigned a dollar amount to?
Just special old me Natalya. I'm special, so I'm gonna get mad.
And then the graphic is deleted because of all the backlash. But it's not just backlash from fans. I hate that the wrestlers chimed in too. Alexa Bliss and Kayla Braxton and Cesaro. Are you kidding me? This is so ridiculous. Yeah, even Cesaro chimed in, with support to Natalya.
Oh my God, man!
Your worth.
Fucking suck.
You're not just worth $1. You're worth more. And all
I'm
gonna
lose my fucking mind. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Benjamin,
you fucking white knighting, cocksucking, fucking enabling pussy fuck. Like,
Shelton Benjamin
God.
told WWE on Fox to erase the post and apologize to every woman on the roster. And
oh my God.
Who else? Chelsea Green, the Bollywood Boys, Mercedes Martinez. A bunch of people got involved.
Oh my God, dude. Go fuck yourself, you stupid cat-eared fucking idiots. You losers. This is why you fucking suck. This is why the company sucks. This is why the country sucks.
Somebody went ahead, Joe. I got to cut you off here, but somebody went ahead and pointed this out in the tweet comments and said, why don't you show the same energy for real issues like legit racism or problems that we're facing every day? And Shelton Benjamin said, you don't want to converse, you want to dictate. Otherwise, you'd have asked what's wrong with the post rather than decide it's because of reasons only your short-sighted view can see. If you are so concerned with bigger issues like racism, why are most of your posts about one person? What does that matter about any of what they just said?
They're all bitches.
What a straw man argument and total deflection that Shelton Benjamin comes out with. And he kept going against fans. He's like, I get the thinking behind it. I get it's meant to be a harmless fun of fans. But that harmless fun hurt a lot of talented women. For me, it has nothing to do with outrage. It's compassion for these women. He sounds like he's trying to get laid.
Man, these people are pathetic, dude. This is not America.
It's not real. You're not saying Natalia's only worth $1 because she's only worth $0.25. But, I mean, she's not... that's not real. They're just trying to go ahead. So had they pick one from each category, then they'd still be complaining? Oh, because you're marginalizing us and putting us into categories and making us beat choices. And no matter what, they would find a reason to complain. I mean, they just did it before, like I said, with the NFL, the MLB. They had a list last week. The dollar tier was Christian, Booker T, Mankind, and Mr. Perfect. That was the dollar tier. Mr. Perfect.
Mankind Christian, went off a cage.
Booker T and Mankind.
Mankind killed himself for the company. He's $1.
The $5 tier was Ric Flair, Randy Savage, Triple H, Steve Austin. Oh, no, excuse me. That was the $4 tier. $5 tier was The Rock, John Cena, The Undertaker, and Steve Austin.
It's like, what happened to why don't you just tweet out, like, wow, I'm worth $1? Fuck you, Fox. Like, why not tweet that? That's funny. Why be like, oh my God, what? I hope somebody fucking... Oh my God, dude! I hate this company. I hate the world. I hate the Twitter wrestlers. I hate this world. I hate this year. The year 2020, worst year in the world ever. 2021 is still shit. 2019, 18.
Part 2, so.
The further back you go, the better it gets. That's all it comes down to it. This world sucks. Everyone's a pussy. Good luck to everybody. Good luck.
And essentially it was supposed to be a good thing. It was creating discussion, that post, to go ahead and really say, like, hey, let's go ahead and create a sense of your ultimate roster, and then people were going to argue, oh, I think this one's better and this one. It was starting a small discussion until people hijacked it and turned it into total nonsense.
I hope Natalya,
the original point of the purse.
I hope Natalya falls down or stays at home and her cats eat her fucking tits. Okay, I hope her cats eat her tits off, and I hope she wakes up during it. And like
those cats would be fed for a while, that's for sure.
And I hope they kill all the cat. They have to euthanize all her kitties, right? Like whatever their names are, Miss Pixie, Miss Penny, fuck whatever the fuck. And they have to kill all the cats because they're, and she has like 70% of her tits left, and they're just fucking mangled and eaten like a fucking American pie.
Nipple just hanging off, flapping,
and they're fucking wearing her stupid little pussy ears. And I
just comes over and rips off the rest of the nipple that's hanging there. And
I want to see her fucking vlogs from a hospital bed while they're fucking trying to
reattach her nipple that came out of her cat's asshole. Yeah, to shit it out and sew it back on.
She'll be on fucking 60 Minutes or whatever news show till the end of time. The woman who got her tits eaten by her cats.
It's okay. I use Gorilla Glue to spray my nipples back on. It's fine.
Yeah, and then somebody says that, well, you're racist for saying that.
Oh, I know. You can't win no matter what.
I just picture the fucking goddamn cats eating her tits off. I'm so angry, dude. Like, I'm just, all this stuff, like, they're right, all the stuff in the world, and this is what you're crying about. Man, I'm sorry. Listen, I actually kind of like Natalya in a way. Like, I kind of like her in a way. But there's another part, like, she is fucking enraging. She is so full of her own shit. It's unbelievable. You watch any of the behind-the-scenes WWE stuff, she is a fucking psycho fuck. Like that. Yeah. If I was her, I don't even understand how anybody hangs around near her.
Well, a few people said in the chat, JT said it, and others, like, no wonder why TJ always looks so miserable.
Yeah, dude. Me and Leah, we used to watch. What was the show that she was on? Was it Total Divas? It was something.
Total Divas, yeah.
It was something she was on, and
she was on Total Divas.
Good God,
I don't know if she still is, but she was in the beginning.
Leah was like, I hate her.
Whenever I had only seen a couple episodes following stories with it, and whenever she was on, it was like nails on a chalkboard. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah, she's terrible.
Because she would always. I remember the one or two times that you see her, she was always complaining about her relationship, and everything was miserable. And
it's always a complaint. Everything with her is always, and it's not just
a
like
complaint.
It's not just a complaint of like, we're coming up with ideas to rant on how we could change whatever, or how we could talk about things. It's always that there's an injustice complaint of something, like, oh, it's an injustice, or I'm going to be crying now, or I'm going to be emotional now, or Oh my God, this is Dave Rose's worst nightmare back in the day before when he used to be around. Like he used to call women emotional. This is like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of women that aren't like that exactly. Once in a while we're all emotional, but she is all emotional all the time. Just she would drive you nuts. Like if you like, are you mad at me for something? Like every second, or like, why don't you ever talk to me anymore? Like we were just talking. Like what are you talking? What the fuck are you talking about? Like just shoot me in the fucking head.
That's
what would
constant
happen.
complaint with her. Everything was just she's always miserable.
Yeah, that would be me living.
He was
with it.
trying. He's like, "Oh, I surprised you with flowers. You only got me 1 dozen. You don't love me." Like that's how it felt with her. It's like I got you chocolates and flowers, and I made dinner. Oh, you made me steak, but no baked potato. Like always ungrateful. That kind of thing. That's what it feels like.
Just always yabbering about some shit,
grating on your nerves.
Yip 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 yip.
I know you can't start a story this close to Mania, but you're telling me Drew has no credible opponents, yet they have Black Andrade and Jinder sitting at home. Andrade beat Drew for the NXT title, yet can't even get on TV. Time to jerk off to Debbie.
I think it'd be wicked cool, Deftones, if they booked Jinder Mahal like this super villain badass guy who's
works with the 3MB story, and so many people want to
Yeah.
see it. I mean, they brought back Heath Slater and had him lose in seconds. That could have been a really compelling story.
That was fun
not
that
a
night.
long-term story, a short thing.
And that
But-
was compelling because of that stuff with his kids and showing up.
Exactly.
That was really
But if
good.
they did it all in one Raw, and it was just a total waste. It was like, oh, he turned on him. Oh, they're hugging again.
But imagine Jinder coming out almost like we're gonna book it like, dude, Jinder, you're the evil villain in this movie, and this guy has been the champion, and you've been looked over, and you're coming for revenge on him, and you're like the Shredder, you're like the Super Shredder in the Ninja Turtles movie, and you're just fucking crazy. I'd actually buy that over fucking almost
The
anything
$15
else.
worth of women. I like Diva
And then
Bible's response originally. He was like, I'll just take 15 Liv Morgans and go home.
Yeah, I like
But,
Liv. Liv's okay.
That's for his personal collection.
Ooh.
Seth Negan's right. Again, he said, think about it. Natalia should be happy that she was even featured on there. Look at the women that weren't on that list
Yeah.
at all, that weren't even featured. That would have been like, hell, I don't care if I'm $1. I would like to have been included. In the men's list. You don't think Titus O'Neil is crying and catering? He says, of course. You want to be involved in these things. You don't want to be viewed as a jobber or a mid-card guy. Everybody wants to be the champion.
Yeah, but and the thing is, almost every other wrestler out there, when there's a magazine top 100 or when there's a whatever, when they're upset or they're like, oh, fuck, they're kind of embarrassed or upset that they're $1 or they're worth a penny or they're whatever, what they do? They tweet it out. And they tweet it and then they say something about it like sarcastically or whatever. They don't go like, really, this is disrespectful.
Worth
and
$1,
the wrong
I'll
thing.
show you what $1's worth.
Yeah,
something.
or-
It would have been.
Even better, you don't tweet anything and you go, well, I'm gonna fucking give that post no love. That way, like, hopefully they're like, well, this is
It
worthless.
doesn't get any traction.
Yeah,
But I just wish that they could see that it wasn't done out of any type of malice. That's.
it doesn't matter because it
I know that's the thing. There's no logic there anymore. It just the attacks just come.
The point is to just be a victim. That's the point of everything nowadays in this country, in this world, is to be a victim. Oh, I'm a victim. Oh, I'm a victim. Everyone's a fucking victim. Even though you're a WWE superstar making over $200,000 a year, wow, you're such a victim. All of our fucking athletes and all of our fucking actors and politicians, like, and everybody everywhere, just, oh, I'm such a victim. It's like, you're a fucking pussy fucking loser.
On a side note, to cover the previous story that we were talking about at the beginning of the show with the WWE lawsuit possibly going to the Supreme Court, the lawsuit that includes over 50 former wrestlers, we said might be, they said that the company failed to protect them from repeated head injuries, including concussions. So this has been resurrected. It's brought back. And now WWE attorney Jerry McDevitt, he issued a statement directly to PW Insider. And he said that this is an exercise in futility, just as we suspected. He says here, Konstantin Kairos has no automatic right to appeal to the Supreme Court. He has to ask them to accept an appeal, and that is what he filed. So he's asking them just to accept an appeal. He's not even filing an appeal yet. The large majority of requests are denied, and the Supreme Court typically takes cases presenting some issue of national importance, where the courts in various federal circuits differ on some specific issue of federal law. Here, he's asking the Supreme Court to reverse the Second Circuit decision that he filed an appeal too late in the cases of everybody that's listed. He's not attempting to have them hear the dismissals of all the other cases, which are now over for good. So basically, he ran out of time. He didn't put the
Shit bum
paperwork in
The
time.
Smoke and Scam YouTube channel is officially done. Now what are we going to do without Damon Heller?
Who? I don't know that channel. Thank you, Luis Antonio Alejandro, for the $5. Appreciate the $5, brother. Did you
I've not heard of it either.
I think he got terminated or something. I think it was somebody. I think I heard about that. Luis, thank you, man. I don't know, man. I don't listen to him, to be honest. I mean, that sucks. I don't think anybody should be losing shit, unless they're terrible people. But I don't think anybody should be losing anything. But
yeah, nobody should be losing their livelihood or their YouTube or any of it.
But I don't know what he did, and I'm not familiar with the show. Maybe other people know. But
if he did something that is really horrific, maybe. But
I have to look it up tomorrow. And tomorrow is fucking BlizzCon online. I'm gonna jerk off on you, Jake. Diablo 4, Diablo everything, Diablo.
I can't wait. We got that. We still got to talk about the Mortal Kombat.
Mortal
trailer,
Kombat
the
was
Red Band trailer
fucking
was incredible.
great. It's great.
So good looking. I'm just happy that it exists, that it's real. We now know that, we've seen a few screens and images, but now we know there is a movie coming. So
yeah, it's nice, man. It wasn't crazy. I mean, we'll see. It's still very.
It looks really good. I'm hyped for it. I'm trying not to get overhyped because I love the original Mortal Kombat movie. I know it's cheesy but it has such a nostalgic place in my heart. So.
I feel like it's going to be like everything with me, kind of like It. This is what this reminded me of. Reminded me of It. The actors in the original Mortal Kombat movie in '94. I feel like they had a little bit more. I don't know what's the word,
personality.
I don't know if it's personality or character or there was something about all those actors.
They kind of stood out. Yeah.
Yeah. These ones, I feel like it's going to be another one of those sort of everybody's really good and they play it more straight.
But if they weren't wearing different clothes, you would think they're the same character.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's a little bit more kind of boring in a way, almost in some way. But yeah, but the action and the realism and how it looks like Mortal Kombat is more serious. And obviously, even the '94 movie looked a little it was obviously low budget back then. It was gimmicky looking. But
well, you figure, that Goro costume cost them over $1 million.
Oh my god!
For the puppeteering for it, and it would break down on set all the time. I watched this big behind the scenes thing for it not that long ago. Actually, it was a really cool documentary and showed how how they filmed and did everything. And there was a lot more practical there than you would imagine for that movie.
Honestly, the first Mortal Kombat movie is one of the best. It's one of the best video game movies ever. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. It still stands the test of time.
Even if you go watch it now, which everybody should, right? It definitely has that little bit of cheesiness in it. It's a little campy for, obviously it's a little dated, but it still kind of stands that. It's still kind of good. It's still kind of it's good in a weird way. It's
yeah. Bridget Wilson was great, Lance, but it was supposed to be Cameron Diaz actually.
Originally in the first one?
Originally it was Cameron Diaz to be Sonya Blade, and then she got injured and went and filmed The Mask. Or had filmed The Mask and went to go, and then either way, she got injured and went on to other projects. But she was training to be Sonya.
Didn't the girl that played Sonya...
They replaced her last minute.
Wasn't that the girl from Billy Madison who plays Sonya?
I believe so.
It's the girl from Billy Madison.
Bridget Wilson, yeah.
Yeah. She's kind of weird. But yeah, she's probably huge now. What does she look like now? She must be a big tub.
I don't know. But she was
so
definitely great looking back then.
I'm such an asshole, dude. I don't know. Probably hot now. I don't know.
But I'm excited. The fatalities at the end, I was like, oh, I so badly want to slow this down, but I just kind of in a way, closed my eyes because I don't want to ruin it. I want to wait to see it all at the movie. Part of me didn't want to watch the trailer because I wanted to be fully surprised. I don't always like seeing trailers, but yeah.
She went the other way, Jake.
Did she?
She went the other way.
Ooh.
But the other way is what I mean is she looks super skinny.
Sickly thin?
In some photos, yeah. Wow. Is that really her? Did she get work?
She got my diet.
She got work done on her face or something.
She looks different, yeah. I wouldn't recognize her really there as the same actress.
maybe it's because she's smiling a lot in all her photos. Because she sort of had that resting bitch face.
Yeah.
You know,
but it worked. It especially worked for Sonya, and in Billy Madison, it fit with her teacher role. So,
yeah, it was fine. It's like, I mean, like, you know, Leah tells you all the time. Leah's like, I have resting bitch face. I always look like I'm angry and stuff. And I'm like, oh. But yeah,
but it made her look like that badass special forces cop. I like in the trailer that they show you. You know, there's going to be a lot of story being told. They're gonna jump all over the place allegedly, and I see that from the trailer. It looks like, you know, how Jax has the origin of getting his arms. You see that briefly. You know, they're telling this new story with Cole. You've got different realms going on, and
she's married to Pete Sampras.
Really?
Fuck, I didn't know that. Holy shit! I'm like, who is this goofball she's married to? And then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, is that Pete Sampras?
Shit bum.
She looks so different there.
Lol, no one in WWE went after Cardi when she tweeted a white woman can't never put fear on me, sweetie, to Lacey. No one said anything then but her up in arms over this goes to show they are spineless cowards who pick and choose their battles for ego.
Oh yeah, dude, I already know this. Black Bolt, thanks Black Bolt for the $5.
Absolutely.
No, I already know this.
They're not actually offended. It's just a chance for them to complain about something.
No, we know this because of what they did to JD. They were like, oh, they like JD made a sex joke about Alexa, so they all piled on him and like harassed him for a week. He got doxxed, attacked, all these things, and they thought it was, and then they started blaming him for that Japanese girl's death, like, oh, this is how bullying happens. But meanwhile, all JD did on his video goes like, you fucking are a corpse in bed. That's all he said. You're a corpse in bed. And then on Twitter, everybody thinks it's okay to just send him anger, death threats, doxing all day long. And that's okay. And then also Alexa tweets out about this. Didn't we just lose somebody because of this stuff? It's like, yeah, because of what you're doing. We lost someone because of what you're doing.
Yeah,
we're not losing. We're not
the other way around.
We're not losing someone because a guy on a podcast goes, "You're fucking corpse cunt in bed." You know, fuck him. Like, and then nobody ever thinks the guy says something goofy and dumb on a show. Nobody else thinks about it again. Nobody else thinks about it. Nobody else says anything about it. She doesn't even know about it. But on Twitter, all day long, hundreds, thousands, tweets. The fucking New York Post or somebody picked it up. NBC picked it up. The national media picked it up. Then thousands more tweets at the guy. Kill yourself. We'll show your parents' address. We'll kill your parents at night. We'll do all these things to you until you fucking lose your life or whatever. Lose your shit. By the way, how does JD not have a Twitter and a YouTube? You know, like I fucking, like, I breathe on somebody and I lose everything. But it's just like, these people are psychos. They are psychos. They're looking for any reason. Like, if you say any kind of criticism or any kind of joke towards them, then that gives them the right to kill you because you hurt their feelings. That's this world now. Psychotic people who are deranged and on fucking foods with food additives and on weird prescription pills who got trophies when they were little, all being reinforced by fucking reassurance on Twitter and fucking whatever the fuck social media, that, yeah, if anybody criticizes you, it's bullying and they should be killed or something. Like, I mean, it's just fucking crazy. And Alexa Bliss supported that. Alexa Bliss literally was like, you know what would be cool is if I just had millions of people fucking say they want to, like, end this fucking midget loser in New York.
Yeah, attack his family and go, you know, after his parents. And then you get someone like Charlotte Flair who does the opposite. You know, some dude told her she looked like a man, so she said, if you lifted like me, you could look like a man too. You know, and schooled him. All right, that's a great insult. You took a negative, turned it into a positive. Andrade, that, you know, he reacts trying to sound like a tough boyfriend, but that's the most we've heard from him in forever, anyways. But the point is, instead of getting upset and being like, "Look at the bullying and harassment, we need to stop," Charlotte just makes a joke of it and lets it go.
Yeah, and
so I'd rather it be handled that way than rile everyone up and have people attack each other.
Yeah, and you know, you can't control your fan base, and you know, if you are tweeting out to protect yourself, it's like, you know, I get it. Like, if somebody attacked me, maybe sometimes I've tweeted out like, "Look at this guy," you know, because he's coming at me with crazy shit, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you think that's crazy? Watch my fucking Twitter fans. Watch what they'll do to you." You know, some guy tweets me like, "Joe, I'll kill. Like, how about I fucking take your fucking family or whatever." And I'll like retweet him and be like, look at this fucking psycho. And then the guy eventually, usually what happens is they delete their Twitter or their tweet and then they run away, because then they start getting freaked out. Because then people start coming at them, and then people start tweeting them stuff, and I know where you like, and they're like, oh my god. But it's like, you kind of deserve that, because you were looking to instigate some kind of weird threat, and now you're getting threatened back, and now you're scared. So that's different. Like, I've even done stuff like that. But if you're just ranting on somebody saying that they're a piece of shit, or their vagina doesn't work right or something, and it's clearly a joke or a rant or just a stupid thing. Like, dude, people have said stuff about my wife and think that they're going to do to me, or that they're going to do something with somebody. You've had all this stuff done to you. You know, we don't really make a big deal out of it much. You know what I mean? Sometimes I do, but I make a big deal out of it in the way of reacting to it in a funny way. I don't go on Twitter and say, like, this is what you're going to do. You know what I mean? And it's like, and if I do, it's always like somebody saying, like, I'll kill you and do this. And it's like, wow, maybe the FBI wants to look at this. You know, but it's like JD saying, like, oh, she can't fuck in bed. Like, it's like,
he doesn't know you. It's not true. It's the same as saying, you know,
he's 5'4",
insult,
bro.
Yeah, but same thing as saying, oh, you're ugly, or you're not worth wrestling. That's all it was. And okay, fine.
Put on a helmet.
You want to lambast him. She could have sent him a message in DMs directly. She could have, you know, it could have been handled, and he would have apologized, because JD's intention wasn't to hurt people. He was trying to be funny, entertaining.
He's trying to be funny. I think he does kind of have an issue with women, but he wasn't trying to really.
Yeah, no doubt there's issues underlying, but I think he was in that instance trying to be funny. So that's why, put everything aside, I still defended him at that point.
Yeah, because it's just, again, these people are full of shit. You know, Natalia, you're full of shit. All you care about is yourself and your little boo-boo feelings. And I hope your fucking cats eat your fucking flesh at night. Okay? I really do. I hope your goddamn cats eat your fucking flesh. Are we done? We done, Jake? We think we're done.
That's everything. Yeah, we updated about the Natalia situation. We talked about the Elimination Chamber. We updated on Kyle O'Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered it all, baby.
And
Top
tomorrow...
Did you just donate to Joe? Mm-hmm. Did you just donate to Joe?
Tomorrow we'll do Mortal Kombat.
Thank you for the donation.
Before
and because
BlizzCon takes off,
I'm going to feast myself.
Colonel Santos with one more horrible psycho donation.
Colonel Santos tipped $3. Joe, you piece of shit, how many? I gotta tell you, I'm Filipino, not Hispanic, you fuck. Colonel Santos versus AJ Spooky Adams is better than anything in wrestling. AJ, I heard you been rubbing your dick on 1-year-olds. He can't fuck him cause his dick is too small.
Well, you know, Colonel Santos, I mean, you've got it lucky. You just call me white guy. You don't think about how I'm part Scottish, Irish, English, Scandinavian, and even as we learned the other day, 0.1% black. Right? That was crazy. I'm from Chad.
Yeah, we did discover, Joe.
The whitest African...
whitest of white names for African colonies ever.
Chad. Can't even believe it. Monetize This is tomorrow night. So tomorrow you got Mortal Kombat discussion and me and Jake's podcast. Then you got me covering BlizzCon and Diablo, and I'm going to flip out. And then you got Monetize This. So tomorrow will be a big day of shit. And Jake, did I tell you about I still told you about the penny stock, right?
Yes. How badass did that turn out? My Christ.
Guys, listen to this. You guys know this. 2 weeks ago, I told you guys I was buying this. I bought a penny stock 2 weeks ago. Fucking penny stock was worth 2 cents. I bought a 2-cent penny stock, right? And I fucking bought 5,400 shares, which equals $90. That stock went up to fucking 33 cents, bro. And I was flipping out because the reason why I bought the stock was because I had this extra money in my shit. And I was like, all right, I got all this extra money in my stock and my whatever. I tweeted this out too, and I gave you all opportunity to do it. And only one person did it. Carter, you did it. Carter fucking...
He jumped on that bandwagon.
And he emailed me, dude. He goes, dude, you're the balls, dude. And I'm like, dude, I'm shocked it went this high. The reason why I bought it was because they opened up 3 companies, a big Asian energy company. They opened up 3 fucking companies, and they have something to do with Biden too. So I was like, okay. Like, this is weird. So I don't really have any money left. I don't do stocks really. I don't do much of things. I had $90 and I put the $90 into this stock. Fucking went from 2 cents to 30 cents penny stock, and this is where we're at. It's fucking crazy.
Absolutely incredible.
This is 1 year. This is 1 year. Look, I bought it right here. I bought it right around here. I bought it right here. So this is a year ago. It's been fucking flatlined forever. You know, and
You've just been holding out, and you just had to wait for the moment.
I bought this 10 days ago. You guys remember I tweeted out about this stock, AABB, Asian Broadband Orges, whatever the fuck that is. So I bought it around here. And then it started going up a little bit, like a cent, a quarter of a cent. Like I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden the other day it just went I was like, wow, bro. So this was insane shit. And it finally started coming down the other day. So when it came down, I sold 3,700 shares.
There you go.
So I sold 3,700 shares, bro. I turned $90. I sold 3,700 shares for $1,100. And then I kept in 1,700 shares, which is all just extra in case it goes up again. So if anybody wants to take a look at that stock that knows what the fuck they're talking about, like I don't really, I don't know a whole lot about stocks, but I know a little bit. That's why I bought it, because like once in a while I get a feeling and I do it. That was the correct feeling. So if anybody knows anything about that stock and you like stocks, go check that out and see what you think about it. I don't know. I don't know what. I'm assuming it's because they built those 3 buildings, and they changed something about their organization that made this stock jump. Or maybe it was just me buying it. Maybe nobody had bought it in forever, and when I bought it, then people started buying it. I mean, like, I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. I just felt like, okay, they're opening 3 buildings, and they're moving their business here, and their stock is at 2 cents. So if they're doing all this new innovation, and they've got all this new innovation going on there at 2 cents, I mean, it's gonna go up, right? So that's why I was like, I'll fucking throw $90 at it. Anyway, on the next episode of Stock Exchange,
Just to luck out.
fucking crazy.
I love it.
You know who does a lot of this stuff, and you can check him out on Twitter, is my buddy Jay Leto, man. He's been on the show before. He'll be on the show again. Jay Leto does good stuff. We'll talk about it next time. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to do little things, little fun things like that. I mean, I don't know. This is just fun. I was really in trouble money-wise, so like that helped. So penny stock, hey, fucking it worked.
Yeah, every little bit helps. That's for sure.
I'm only 1 for 4 on penny stocks, though. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Okay, I've 3 other penny stocks. That's
why I used to like being able to just help people fix their computer issues, minor things, but the tech stuff, it was enough to make little odds and ends on the side. Yeah. And pandemic happened. That hasn't happened at all. So it's just been, what do you do? It sucks.
You know what I'd like to do with you? I would like to take your grundle.
Oh, baby.
And
don't
just
tease
gobble
me.
it. How about last night when I flipped out on Natalia? Let's go out on that accord.
That's a great one to go out on.
At Jake DeMarco on fucking Twitter. Go check him out. Good night, Jake. I love you, brother.
Stay sexy, baby. We'll see you tomorrow for some Mortal Kombat talk.
Mortal Kombat. Burp, 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 burp.
Frustrating. But
grow a fucking spine, you stupid twat. It's in the fucking goddamn fucking shape it's in, you stupid bimbo bitch. If you fucking had any balls or fucking anything, your stupid company wouldn't be a piece of shit. This is why your company is a piece of fuck, like every other fucking.
We broke Joe.
Here it comes.
God damn. See? I said him off. Rightfully so, though. I mean, you have
every other
and the foundation of what they do today.
I'm
So you can just keep your dollar, because anybody knows me and knows I'm priceless. They're not saying you're worth $1. They're trying to build a team, and it's just a way. So Fox had to apologize, delete the tweet, and then Natty
go slap your titties again on Instagram. That's what you do.
You smack your sister's boobs. Yeah, exactly. But nobody got mad when they did this for the men. No one got mad when they did this for the Rumble. Yeah, no one got mad when they did with the men, but they mad at night. Grow a fucking spine, you stupid twat. Goddamn fucking company is in the fucking goddamn fucking
shape it's in, you stupid bimbo bitch! If you fucking had any balls or fucking anything, your stupid company wouldn't be a piece of shit! This is why your company is a piece of fuck! Like every other fucking...
We broke Joe. God damn. See? I set him off into a rage. Rightfully so, though. I mean, you have these females, Mercedes Martinez, Chelsea Green, Kayla Braxton, other females like Dewey Foley, and even Alexa Bliss, all chiming in to show support. I don't like these tier lists, and, you know, you're priceless, and we know this. And it has nothing, they're not devaluing you, Natalya. They're not saying you're not worth anything, though you aren't, apparently, because you're so sensitive about it. They must be speaking truth, since truth hurts the most. Christ, she must think very little of herself. Honestly, though, I fail to see how this is such a abusive or negative thing when all it was a way to have fans say, who would you like on your team? They should have just not done money, I guess. Just say pick one from each category. You know, time and time again, this happens. And what kind of, you know, leads into my next thing I want to bring up is that Cornette was getting more crap, too, because...
Shout out to Jabroni Jabber Podcast for the membership and becoming a member. And shout out to the patrons, man. Shout out to the $25 producers. Thank you to the new guys. Thank you so much to the new patrons who became patrons. Chris Kowalski. Thank you, Kowalski. We love Kowalski because I was trained by Kowalski. But shout out to the $25 producers. Big Daddy Skittles is a brand new one. Takatsu Todd, Alan Stober, Useless Robbie, D. Crisp, Shell Brian, Luis Antonio Alejandro, J-Man from KC, Colonel Stutters, Jerome Spicer, Kevin Murphy, Tony from Revere, Cold Brew Crew, Junebug, Dwayne Crenshaw, 6535, Joseph Lightsey J, Sith Negan, My Son Champion, Nikki J, The Weed God, Garguts Entertainment, ADTR 210, Gordon Bombay, Talk to Me Nice, Drew Bar 100, Matt Rossmeyer, Jason Tarr, JD Venom, and Star Scream. All you guys are all allowing the fucking shows to happen. Besides the donators, obviously everybody else who's a patron, but you guys are the fucking balls for going up to the $25 spot or above. In some cases, many of you guys are in the 30, 50, and 100 spots. You guys are the glue that holds my asshole open, okay? So thank you to the producers of the show. Without you guys, we're fucked. And you value this shit so much that you became a producer. And your names are down below in the description box, updated. You can see them down below there if you are a $25 producer. And they'll stay there as long as you are a $25 producer. Going forward, we'll see you tomorrow for Mortal Kombat, Jake and Joe, Monetize This, and BlizzCon Online. A lot of shit to do tomorrow. Now I'm going to go fuck my dog. Feed my dog. By the way, I do want to say we just hit 301 patrons. So just want to let everybody know we broke the 300 mark again. We're back to 300 patrons, 301 patrons. We're back to 30 producers. There we go. Who's wet in the chat? Who's wet in the chat? Click the like button and stick the thumb up my fucking ass.